The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
The New York Giants won Super Bowl 25 last January, achieving the ultimate victory at the pinnacle of the sport. It was a great moment, but now it's history. Things are different now for the Giants. Ray Hanley is the new head coach, and Jeff Hostetler is the permanent quarterback. An opening night win over the 49ers was a good beginning for this team with different leadership.
I give these players credit for being professionals and motivating themselves, and for the most part, they've done that.
But the Giants have had their problems. They lost 3 of their next 4 games, and it became time for the Super Bowl champions to dig down and recall the spirit that wins football games.
You got to have an attitude, not a cocky style, because this team has never been cocky. But it's always been a team that's put a chip on his shoulder and dared other people to knock it off.
Last week against Phoenix, the Giants rolled to a convincing win that was an encouraging reversal of the earlier trend.
Things are on the verge of really turning around, and we just need to continue to play well. And I think if we do our job and go out and prepare the way that we have prepared, I think things will start to fall our way.
That we'll see tonight as the Giants meet the Pittsburgh Steelers on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Are you ready for the Giants and the Steelers in a primetime smash mouth show? We're gonna make you smile and get rid of your blues. Monday Night Football boogie for you. Are you ready for the football? It's the game of the week that's coming your way. It's Monday Night Football and it's time to play.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The New York Giants versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. By the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it. By ITT Corporation, building people's dreams. And by the Diamond Anniversary Band. This year, tell her you'd marry her all over again.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on a beautiful October evening. It's a city caught up in both football and baseball. The Pittsburgh Pirates taking a 3-2 lead over the Atlanta Braves this afternoon. They'll be returning to Three Rivers Stadium on Wednesday night, where tonight there's a sellout crowd on hand for the New York Giants and the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 of the NFL's oldest franchises. They have met many times over the years, but they have not met here since 1971. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, along with Al Michaels and Dan Dierdorf. Interesting matchup for you tonight. The defending Super Bowl champion Giants are 3-3. The Steelers are 3-2 now. 2 years ago, the Steelers came in within that much of going to the AFC Championship game. Last year, they missed the playoffs. They've been inconsistent this year. They are 3-2. But they know if they win tonight, they'll only be behind 1 game behind Houston in the AFC Central Division. Actually, it's a team, when you talk to them, that they want a measure of respect. They haven't beaten a lot of good football teams. They feel if they can beat the Giants, they will earn that respect. Meanwhile, ironically, the Giants come in struggling at 3-3. 2 weeks ago, they lost to Dallas. They came back to New York, and there was an onslaught of negative media. They had team meetings. All the things happen that happen to a bad football team. But they put it back together again. They beat Phoenix 20-9. But Al Michaels, as we pointed out, there has been a lot of changes with the Giants. And even if they win tonight, they'll trail Dallas, and they'll trail the Redskins by 3 games in the division.
Frank, to me, the Giants illustrate just what a fine line there is in this league now between winning and losing. Sure, they're the Super Bowl champions, but people forget they didn't dominate teams in 1990. They edged teams. And look at what happened at the very end. They beat San Francisco by 2 in the NFC Championship game. They won the Super Bowl by 1. This year, what's happening is they are getting edged. They have lost 3 games by 6, 5, and 3 points. So it's not as if this team has gone from the top to bottom or from greatness to mediocrity. They are right there, and right now they are at a crossroads. In addition to a new co-owner, a new coach, and a new quarterback, while you're out in the kitchen, the Giants have a new star running back. Last year's Super Bowl MVP, Otis Anderson, is on the bench, and the main man is now Rodney Hampton. Very big game for the Giants tonight. If they lose tonight, they'd be 4 games back of Washington and 2 games back of Dallas, and their playoff hopes would be precarious at this point in the season. It's a big game, too, Dan, for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who come in with a mark of 3-2, but they, too, are at a crossroads.
Yeah, they really are, Al. And Frank talked about the respect that they would get by beating the New York Giants tonight. And a lot of it is made here locally about how long it's been since the Steelers have beaten a good football team. Well, they have not beaten a football team with a winning record since November of 1989. Now, if this was good news, bad news, that would be the bad news. The good news would be that the Giants don't have a winning record. They're only 3-3, so maybe the Steelers have a shot. Now, something very interesting to watch for early on in tonight's game. Quarterback Bubby Brister of the Steelers, a very mobile, very active quarterback. Last week in their Sunday night game against Indianapolis, partially tore the posterior cruciate ligament in his right knee. He's wearing a heavy brace tonight. To play against this Giant defense and be effective, you must be a mobile quarterback. If Brister is in any way impaired, it's really going to handicap the Steelers.
So here we go in the Steel City on a perfect night, though the weather forecast does call for some rain before the game is over. Three River Stadium, which now holds 60,000. The Giants to kick. That's Matt Barr to kick off. And back deep to receive for the Steelers is Rod Woodson, who stands at the 2-yard line. Woodson backs up, and from a yard in. Woodson, a great return man, is limited to a minimal return, relatively speaking, as he is forced out of bounds at the 16-yard line. And now, as Dan mentioned, we'll keep a very close eye on Bubby Brister, who's backed up by Neil O'Donnell. 6 touchdowns and 6 interceptions this season. And here is the basic offensive alignment now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Behind Brister in the backfield, they start with 2 tight ends, actually, with Foster and Hodge in the backfield. Lips is the sole wideout, Malarkey, and the big man Eric Green. And the guys up front, Jackson, Long, Dawson, Hasselrig, and Ilkin. There is a delay as they, I think, get a new football is the reason for it before the Steelers can come out and take possession at the 17. And so here we go on 1st and 10. Bubby Brister in his 6th year in the league out of Northeast Louisiana. Malarkey in motion. And Brister begins with a pass, and that is Lewis Lips to a chorus of Lewis making the catch. Up front, the banged-up defensive line for the Giants. For the moment, Dorsey, Freeman, and Marshall get the start. The linebackers, the very familiar names, Banks, Reasons, Johnson, and LT. And then the defensive backs, Collins and Perry Williams at the corners, Walls and Guyton, the safeties. Greg Jackson was hurt last week and didn't play. He is in uniform and will play tonight. There is Marshall lining up as the Steelers have it 2nd and 5 at the 22-yard line. That's Dwight Stone in motion, and this is Barry Foster, who picks up a yard or 2, stopped by Gary Reasons up at the 23-yard line, and that's going to make it 3rd down and about 3.
Steelers open with the 2 tight ends. That is very characteristic of the Steelers and their offensive coordinator. As you look at head coach Chuck Noll, Joe Walton, he loves the tight end. He was a former tight end himself. He'll play as many as 3. He has done that throughout his career. There he is. And he coached with the Jets. The Giants, as a matter of fact, even went back and looked at some videos of Jets game to get an idea of frequency, how often and when they use the tight end formation.
3rd and 3. Brister under pressure, stepping up, has to get to the 27, and that's where he goes, but where will they spot the ball? Pepper Johnson makes the tackle. The chain extends, as you can see, just about to the 27. And if he is on the 27-yard line, he has it, but where they put it down, it appears that he is a little bit short.
It does answer a question as whether or not Bubby can run out of that pocket. Pulled it down. He came close to the first down. He looks like he's going to be a little short.
Yeah, you look the way he came down. It looked like his shoulder pad might have been up to the 27, but the ball is back in the midsection. And that looks to be a pretty accurate spot by the official. I mean, that looks to be a very representative spotting of where the ball actually met the ground, not where his shoulder pads. And you can see he's a couple of feet short of the first down. He did flush out of there. He did run, but he didn't appear to be running with kind of the abandon that we've seen Brister run with in the past. I'm sure he's a bit tentative, wanting to see how it responds. But a good spot by the official. There was a great look from the reverse angle of exactly where the ball hit the field.
And also that reverse angle, Dan, you're so right. I mean, he could have taken another stride. He would have got that first down, but he didn't do it. He probably is just a little tender in that right knee.
Steelers are 3 and out. That's Dave Meggett back to receive the kick from Dan Struzinski. Meggett sets up at his own 30-yard line. Giants set up the return. The kick is a wobbly kick that bounces at the 37 and takes a great Steeler bounce.
Yeah, you could say that.
I would say it's a 21-yard bounce.
An artificial surface bounce.
And that was after a bad snap, too. So Struzinski winds up looking very good, at least on the stat sheet. The snap was made that time by Greg Lloyd.
And this is a case where the artificial turf is your friend. The ball bounces a little more true when it hits that hard surface and right into Struzinski's hands.
So Struzinski booted it 37 yards in the air and 21 on the ground, and that's 58 total. As the Giants take over at their own 17, Hostetler on a toss to Hampton, who eludes one tackler in the backfield and can only bring it back up to the 16-yard line, and that's a loss of 1 as Rod Woodson came in from the corner. It'll be 2nd down and 11. Hostetler, who is 42 of his last 52 in the last 2 weeks. Hampton and Carton are the starting running backs. Stephen Baker is not here. Bad back in New York. Ingram and Turner, the wideouts, crosses the tight end. And they begin the game now, as you look at their veteran offensive line, with David Meggett on first down, lined up wide to the right. From the 16-yard line, Hostetler on 2nd and 11 hits Odessa Turner, who takes it up to the 21-yard line, and it will be 3rd down and 7. Greg Lloyd makes the hit. Let's take a look at the Steelers, who play a base 3-4. And the guys up front in the Pittsburgh alignment are Jones, Williams, and Evans. And then the linebackers, Hinkle, Nickerson's their leading tackler, Little, the veteran, and Lloyd on the outside. Johnson and there's Woodson, who's as good as they come at the corner. And Lake and Everett are the safeties. Third and 7 from the 21-yard line. Hostetler from the gun. 4-man rush to Meggett, who makes the catch at the 8. He has been better off dropping it. Gerald Williams is there to make the hit, and that turns out to be a 13-yard loss.
A design play all the way. That look of Hostetler going to the left and then throwing back to the right. I think what screwed him up, though, is that Williams actually started out as a defensive end. He was down in his stance, and I don't think they accounted for him looking for linebackers. When he came up out of that stance, he was in the middle of the play.
Sean Landeta booms one. Woodson backs up, fields at the 38, gets a block. However, there's a penalty flag, and he's down at the 44-yard line by Callaway. Red Cashin is our referee, and there are 2 flags down.
Well, what a tremendous advantage a great punter is when you're backed up to your own goal line. Sean Landeta, who's been underworked for the past couple of weeks, really nailed that one.
54-yard kick and a 7-yard return. I think I said Callaway made the tackle. What I meant to say was Callaway, I believe, is the guy they're going to call for the penalty here.
Illegal block. Number 22 of the receivers That penalty is declined. Illegal block, number 88 of the receivers, 10 yards, first down.
I mean, the block I saw, he barely touches. There it is to the right. You can see he does come into the back of Odessa Turner. Yep, there it is. That's a good call. He does hit him from behind. And that's Sprung Woodson.
To make sure the Saturn would make it through anything anyone might do with a car, we considered what would happen if you found yourself in the Amazon in August, or went camping in the Sahara and forgot your tent. What if you stayed in Bombay through monsoon season? We even considered what would happen if you drove your Saturn to the nearest Dixie Mart to get some cherry vanilla ice cream.
It's football time. Your ball, Joe.
I'm hurting, Jimmy.
I did it. You can do it.
This isn't tennis. This is football pain.
My doc says ibuprofen for body pain. The medicine in Nuprin.
My trainer, same thing.
So Nupit.
Nupit. Nupit with Nuprin.
Strong stuff.
Just takes one.
Cheer up, Joe. There's always tennis.
Yeah, Jimmy? You think I'm old enough?
For back, joint, or muscle pain.
Nupit.
Nupit. With Nuprin.
The body pain medicine.
The IBM Laser Printer 10 prints graphics 45% faster than the leading laser printer. Which printer would you rather use in a crunch? The new IBM laser printers put you pages ahead.
Each team 3 and out to begin the game. A lot of people think it will be a defensive struggle. Talk about a struggle.
Wow. Face made for radio.
Yep. Shortwave.
I missed my trombone.
First down, Pittsburgh at the 26-yard line. Early in the first quarter with no score as Foster is hit as he reaches the line of scrimmage. That is Lorenzo Freeman, who began this season in a Pittsburgh uniform, and then the Giants picked him up for added depth along the defensive front, and that's exactly what they need up front.
You're right. And it's, Frank, I know for me it's hard to look at a New York Giant wearing number 75 and not think of George Martin.
Yeah, the Steelers have an 88 running around out there. When I look at him, I think of all the great moments of watching Lynn Swann, but it does move on, doesn't it?
It sure does.
A lot of 72s around this league now.
I know one thing, though. That's a bigger jersey than George Martin wore.
XXXXXL.
Second and 10. Pittsburgh to the 27-yard line. Brister throwing off balance and is very fortunate it was not intercepted by Everson Walls. Eric Green was the intended receiver. Third down.
Boy, and Green was open, too. Eric Green had curled right into a hole there in the Giants zone, and the ball from Bubby Brister was not well thrown.
And we're going to be watching 86 all over the field tonight. They'll use him as a wide receiver. They'll use him in this manner on the move and then looking into the zone. That's just a poorly thrown ball, and Wall should have had his 53rd interception. But they'll also use him, Dan, cracking back on the nose tackle, and he is a force. Yeah, 285 pounds.
I want to correct myself. That was Malarkey, 84, the tight end who was down there that was the intended receiver.
Third down and 9. Brister, the fake inside give, then hits Hodge, and he gets tackled by Mark Collins at a position where even with the thrust forward, he does not have the first down, as he can dive only to the 35-yard line, and that forces the second Steeler kick with 9:30 to go in the first quarter. And Dave Beckett is back to receive at his own 20-yard line. The Giants have been a little short offensively compared to last year at this time, a little short defensively, and considerably short in terms of their special teams play, which was such an important factor last year. High floating kick. Mega calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 25-yard line. So the Giants begin their second possession at that spot. 9:03 left. First quarter in Pittsburgh. No score.
What's up? The talking elephants our sales force left with yesterday?
Yeah, there's been a little problem.
Do we have any that speak elephant?
Now, who's going to get them to all of our salesmen?
One company offers 1030 delivery to more places than anyone and treats them all with mammoth importance.
Presenting Hugo, the talking elephant.
Federal Express, our most important package, is yours.
Well, after all, it's still a car. It's not like it had 6 wheels or nuclear power or something. But what it is the first car made in this country, from scratch. The way it's made. The way people care about how it's made. It's all new. We're proud of this car. It shows what you can do when you're willing to start all over again.
From the Far East to Europe. Across the Caribbean and throughout North America, only one airline covers so much of the world with so much warmth.
The Bengals and the Bills get it on under the lights. It's a shuffle on to Buffalo Monday night.
Well, Dan, you talked about keeping a close eye on Bubby Brister, and that's what the Steelers are doing, and they can't be too happy at this point.
He drew a crowd when he came over to the sidelines, the team doctors and everybody talking to him. He doesn't look like a guy who's anywhere close to 100%.
From the 25, Hostetler off the play fake, gets hit as he throws, and it is incomplete. The blitz was on that time, and that's Greg Lloyd, who can really be a force. Here's a guy who doesn't get a lot of ink or airtime, but this guy is right on the verge of being a very big impact performer for the Steelers.
Ooh, and what a move he put on John Elliott that time. Big Jumbo at left tackle jumped outside and jumped a little bit too far. You see him jump way to the outside, and Lloyd with a great juke move back to the inside.
Hostetler was lucky he didn't get that picked off. He just laid it up there, and it came down in the middle of the zone. Fortunately, no Steeler near it for the Giants.
2nd and 10, the Giants come up in a double tight end set. Hampton, the sole running back. Farthon in motion to provide leverage. And Hampton picks up 4 and gets hit at the 29-yard line by Carnell Lake, the safety who was a linebacker in college at UCLA. Hampton taking over, as we mentioned, as the Giants' premier back. Comes into the game with a great 5.4 per carry average. Again, the league average is 4.0.
He is really living up to his potential when the Giants drafted him #1 a year ago. And he was injured much of last year, reported late, missed the first 2 games this year with a bad shoulder, and last week 137 yards, and he has the potential to be one of the great running backs. He's really got it all: size, speed, movement, quickness, everything.
3rd and 6 at the 29-yard line. Hostetler doing what he does so well, providing that mobility and providing the game's first down. Aaron Jones makes the hit as Hostetler takes it up to the 41, a gain of 12.
And I think this is one of the things that early on, when Hostetler took over the job from Phil Simms, he was reluctant to do. This is one of his great talents, but I think he stayed in the pocket maybe a little too long, and he did that very often. That time he was looking for Ingram downfield, and Ingram's not open. Boom, he didn't even look for another receiver. He saw first down yardage, and he pulled it down and took off. Now, he might not have done that early on this season.
First down of the game, 7:30 to go in a scoreless first quarter. That's Meggett split left, top of your screen. Hostetler under heat again and throws low at the 50-yard line, intended for Odessa Turner. Again, with Baker out of the game, Turner gets the start. We've now seen Meggett split out a couple of times. Not that that's unusual, but I'm sure we're going to see it more tonight in the absence of Baker.
And it also puts a whole lot more pressure on the shoulders of Mark Ingram, a guy who's capable of coming through with the big game. There, of course, is Phil Simms on the sidelines, and it's difficult to imagine a man who's handled it any better than that. Let's watch this pass. Trying to determine whether or not it was deflected at the line of scrimmage. It looks like he just threw the ball nose down.
2nd and 10. There's the fake to Hampton. Hostetler under heat again. And Howard Cross makes the catch and is stopped up at the 49-yard line. And that was Keith Willis, who got a lot of pressure on Hostetler that time. So they're giving Jeff no time to throw.
I think it's pretty clear that no matter what he does play action, they're going to follow Hostetler, who was effective with the rollout, the bootleg last week against Phoenix. And it is one of his great weapons because it gives him an option to run or pass, but the Steelers are staying right with him no matter what he does. There was the play action phase, and Willis went right with Hostetler.
At the 49-yard line, third and a long 2. They come up in the shotgun. 3 wide receivers. They give it to Meggett on an inside handoff and a first down as he gets to the Pittsburgh 41-yard line, tackled by Rod Woodson.
A couple things. Good call. Good call out of the spread formation, out of the shotgun formation. And secondly, marvelous leg action by David Meggett. I mean, almost Roger Craig-like high knee stepping that breaks a couple of tackles.
We talked about it so many times. 5'7", 180 pounds, but from the waist down, he's like a 200-pounder. He kicks through a tackle right there.
From the 41, this is Maurice Carthen getting a rare carry and taking it to the 38-yard line where David Little makes the tackle. It's only Carthen's 12th carry, and it's the Giants' 7th game of the season. Chuck Noll, year 23 with the Steelers.
So he's looking out there and watching the Giants, who are on a bit of a roll now, thinking of the Super Bowl drives of the Giants. 9:40 in the third quarter, 7.5 minutes in the fourth quarter. They've got a great offensive line, and when they get it rolling, they are hard to stop.
Timeout on the field. It's an official's timeout as Keith Willis comes hobbling off. Pretty good company for him behind L.C. Greenwood and Mean Joe Green. Second and 7 at the 38. No score. 5:28 to go. First quarter. Hampton to the 34-yard line. It's going to set up a 3rd and short for the Giants. Hampton now spearheading the Giants running attack, and the Giants have had good production on the ground. At least 4 yards per carry have they averaged in each of their last 8 games going back to last season. Longest streak in the history of the fabled franchise.
Well, they're getting down near the area where they've had trouble all year long. That is getting it in for the touchdown once they get deep into the opposition's territory.
3rd down and 3. A 4-man rush. Hostetler has time. Hits Meggett inside the 20. And Meggett takes it all the way down to the 12-yard line where Rod Woodson makes the tackle. First down, Giants at the 12. A 22-yard gain.
Boy, and Meggett gets lost because, first of all, he's not a real tall guy, but he releases right between the center guard gap. And that confuses the Steelers secondary. They lose him for just that moment. And right here, this is what I like. He has a chance to just duck out of bounds, take the yardage, but no, he fights back inside and picks up another 3 yards. Those 3 yards can be the difference between a touchdown and a field goal.
That much time left in the scoreless first quarter. Hostetler on 1st and 10, throwing, and it's a touchdown to Howard Cross, but there's a flag down at the 10-yard line.
I think he's going to go against the Steelers. Cross is being buffeted about.
Holding, number 54 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Touchdown.
Yeah, that's Hardy Nickerson, the inside linebacker, who gets snagged, but it really doesn't account for much. Remember, I talked about the extra 3 yards that Meggett picked up. Well, Cross would have landed on the 1-yard line if it wasn't for those extra couple yards. As it was, a beautifully thrown ball by Hostetler, and Howard Cross gets a TD.
Interesting. We were on the field earlier, Dan, Al, myself, and for about 15 minutes, Hostetler was throwing passes to Howard Cross, warming up.
And he gets his first touchdown of the year.
And the second in his career. He's in his 3rd year in the league. Barr's extra point is good. 3:59 remaining in the opening quarter. The Giants on top of the Steelers. 7-0.
My first car didn't even have a seatbelt. Of course, it was a tank, but that's all changed. Except it seems when people talk safety, they're still talking size. Well, we thought the Saturn should behave bigger than it looks. Imagine having the option of anti-lock brakes on a car that's less than $10,000. It's just that it's scary to think you'd have to spend $40,000 to feel safe.
Pardon me. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
She doesn't want to go back to work for a while. She likes staying home with the baby.
How old's the baby now?
She's 2 months old tomorrow. I swear she's a genius. Yeah,
No catchy jingles.
Look.
No images of snow-capped mountains.
She got lucky, I guess.
No rock stars.
Another Heineken? Yeah.
No sports stars.
You know, I've been getting about
None of that is what made Heineken the #1 imported beer in America.
So you like being a dad?
I wouldn't trade it for anything. You gotta try it.
You sound just like my in-laws.
Thursday, mass murder and drugs have the feds infiltrating a ruthless gang.
Certainly your adrenaline flows.
FBI, The Untold Stories, Thursday.
We're back in Pittsburgh at Three River Stadium. The Giants on a pass from Hoff to Cross for 12 yards take a 7-0 lead, and Barr will kick off for the Giants.
Nice, Al. Our poet on the left.
Yes, some poet.
He's a poet and don't know it.
That's right. Poet of Ding Dong School. Woodson at the 5-yard line. And he's run out by Guyton up at the 25-yard line. Steelers will take over there. Good long drive for the Giants. 75 yards in 10 plays to take the lead.
IBM presents You Make the Call. Mike Cofer of the 49ers kicks off to the Steelers, who choose not to return it. The bouncing ball is eventually picked up at the 5 by Mike Wilson of the 49ers, who carries it into the end zone. Now you make the call. Whose ball is it and where?
To celebrate the 10th anniversary of the IBM PC, you've got to know the ropes, because it deserves a big production. So you set the stage with rebates on a star-studded cast of PS2s. Go head over heels with a choice of amazing software. Then bring down the house with prices that really take the cake. It's the only way to thank everyone who played a part. Join the celebration. Call for an IBM dealer nearest you.
What call did you make? A kickoff is considered a loose ball, which can be recovered but not advanced by the kicking team. 49ers ball at the 5.
The experience of buying a $60,000 car is, to say the least, different. You get to walk around a showroom without looking over your shoulder. Nobody makes you have a conversation you really don't want to have. And you're given all the time you need to make your decision. It's a pretty nice way to shop for an automobile. And it feels even better when the car you're looking at costs around $12,000.
Tennessee sends its volunteer army into Alabama for an SEC showdown with the Crimson Tide Saturday on ABC's College Football.
Mean Joe Green going over some things with Gerald Williams.
He could be mean, too, couldn't he, Dan?
Whoa. I mean, you talk about a coach that when he talks to you, you stand up straight and listen. Nobody falls asleep in his meeting.
Here are the Steelers down 7-0 late in the first quarter. First and 10 at their own 26-yard line. Brister the fake, then throws. It's a high throw, and it's dropped by Mike Mularkey, covered by Collins. Second and 10 with 3:43 to go in the first quarter.
Well, there's Marshall dropping off and forcing Brister to throw that in kind of a lob fashion, and it was a good play by Marshall. He would have come up to make the move on Brister. Brister would have had an easy completion.
Funny, Marshall last year was not used as much as he would have preferred. Now he is the definite main man as far as the Giants' front three is concerned. In there all night long. 2nd and 10 at the 26-yard line. Brister dumps it off from Merrill Hodge, who has some room to roam. Up to the 33-yard line. He is stopped there by Pepper Johnson, and that's going to set up 3rd and 3.
You know, a good matchup all night tonight will be John Jackson, the left tackle of the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 65, who will alternate between Leonard Marshall and Lawrence Taylor. This time it's Taylor. His responsibility is to cut him because it's a screen to get his hands down, and that was just a textbook look at how to do it from a tackle standpoint. Get into your guy, lift him up off the ground, and LT got a little bit of a ride there from John Jackson.
3rd and 3 up at the 33. Steelers are still looking for their first down. Brister, and they are still looking for their first down. Very poor pass. Banks was there in the area to cover, and Chuck Noll was saying last night our big problem this year has been 3rd down conversions, and they begin tonight's game 0 for 3 on 3rd down.
And the crowd was booing there because LT came around the corner and came in from behind and got Bubby Brister. He collapses Jackson that time, and actually LT hits him and bounces off, and then Meisner comes in and really is the guy that knocks Brister to the ground. LT, well, I think was very sportsmanlike there in hitting Brister, but then not taking him down.
Dan Straczynski getting a workout in this first quarter. His 3rd punt is not a good one and does not take a good Pittsburgh bounce as the first one did. It will be downed at the 41-yard line by Rob McGovern, and so the Giants will take over there up 7-0.
I tell you, Lawrence really made this happen. And good coverage downfield, and a lot of people say he's slowing up. Well, you have to slow up when you're 32 a little bit, but he's still playing so much better than you're going to find around the league, and he does ease off, as Dan said. Meisner, we got a call for roughness last week.
How did he not get one there?
He came close to drawing another flag right there, and there's LT. He still has the speed and the quickness, but he's not playing hurt this year from the waist down. That's the difference why he's playing so good.
After a 24-yard punt, first down Giants at the 43. Hampton for a gain of 9, taking it to the Steeler 48-yard line where Little and Everett corral him. 2nd down and short. Looking down from the Goodyear blimp into Three Rivers Stadium. And we will be in Buffalo. Rich Stadium is the site next week. Jim Kelly was knocked for a loop yesterday, but still Kelly and Frank Reich and Thomas and Kenneth Davis and the rest 42-6 over Indianapolis. They'll take on Cincinnati next week on Monday Night Football.
You're going to bet on who might be back after getting knocked for a loop. You're going to bet on Kelly, right?
If the game was tonight, I'd bet on Kelly. 2nd and 2. Hampton picks up the first down. The Giants with a 1st and 10 at the Steeler 45.
Next promo, you'll talk about Cincinnati.
You're up there.
Well, they are due. They are very due.
They are real due.
I did the college promo, so guys, you go right ahead. They are due, and it must be so frustrating for Boomer and Sam. They had a good lead yesterday, as they've had a couple times this season. It's just an horrendous year for them thus far.
First down New York at the 45. Hostetler has this one tipped high in the air and incomplete. Brian Hinkle, the 10th-year linebacker out of Oregon, was the guy who got his hands up and batted the ball.
That might set the distance record for the longest I've ever seen a batted ball go.
It hit a helmet, or was it batted? I mean, it had to hit something other than the hand.
I mean, it had to. I mean, that ball went beyond the free safety.
Take a look again. Hostetler trying to get it about a 15-yard. There it is, right off the helmet of Hinkle.
No wonder it went that far.
Eric Moore has Hinkle strung out. Hinkle gives it a leap and right off his helmet.
That ball went about 30-some yards in the air after it went off Hinkle's helmet.
Last time I saw a guy hit a ball that far, his name was Maradona.
Or John Daly.
Yeah. Here's Hampton taking it to the 43-yard line. Hardy Nickerson makes the tackle. 3rd down.
My guy hit the ball farther than your guy.
A little bit. A minute to go in the first quarter.
A big series, a big down rather, coming up here for Pittsburgh.
And little man's been so effective already on third down. Make it checks in. This time, instead of out of the backfield, they'll have the single back. That, of course, is Hampton, and Meggett split to the top of your screen.
Third down and 8 at the 43-yard line. Ingram in motion. They have to get to the 35. And they do on a pass to Ed McCaffrey. The rookie out of Stanford, stopped by Delton Hall. That's a pickup of 13.
Delton Hall came in. Delton Hall is a Terminator type of defensive back. He doesn't believe in wrapping people up. He's going to put a shoulder on you. Watch number 35. No attempt to wrap up. I mean, he's just coming in to hurt and stun a guy. And more often than not, when he puts it to them, they go down.
Sort of a linebacker playing on the corner.
He will stroke him.
That's the end of the first quarter. 7-0 Giants, and we'll return to Pittsburgh after this message and a word from our ABC station.
It's happening. Some people are climbing out of their imports and getting into the 1992 Buick Regal sedan. Why? One simple, overwhelming consideration. Quality. Buick quality. It's something you might want to get into yourself. Regal from Buick. The new symbol for quality in America and beyond.
Some things are so reliable, they seem invisible. For 9 years, Canon has been America's #1 copier. And if you haven't noticed, that's exactly how it should be. For copiers of uncompromising quality, the choice is Canon.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
America's watching ABC.
We do a lot of things with new electric technologies. We have a special group set up to work with our customers.
From Southern Jim, we talked on the phone about our pre-coated.
Our folks went out and took a look at what they were doing and told them about this new technology. Now they're more successful.
Money for you.
The South and the well-being of the South is very, very important to me, to our company. And that's the way we feel about it.
Atlanta's going to Pittsburgh for the Braves showdown on the night beat.
Back in Pittsburgh, start the second quarter. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. Giants on top 7-0 and moving again. The Giants at the Steelers' 30-yard line, 1st and 10. This time it is Hampton. Rodney picks up 3. He takes it to the 27-yard line. David Little makes the stop. The Giants dominant in the first quarter, and these numbers reflect that.
Well, when you don't have a first down, you're getting manhandled, and that's, of course, the case for the Steelers. The Giants have been effective offensively, and defensively they have just totally throttled the Steelers.
Rodney Hampton will get a little breather, and when they give him a breather, they've gone to a combination of Hampton and Lewis Tillman, number 34, a slashing type of runner, not a nifty runner like Hampton, but he will give you a slash and a cut, looking for someone to tackle him.
2nd and 7. Hostetler pump fake. And finally dropped by Brian Hinkle from behind as the secondary did its job beautifully. Hostetler looking over the middle to his left, back over the middle, and finally dumped just about at the line of scrimmage.
One of the best in the business did it, and that is Rod Woodson over at the right corner. They were set to go deep to Turner all the way. They thought they could get Turner to come up and bite on it. Woodson covered him perfectly. Hostetler had nowhere to go.
ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Buick and your Buick dealers. Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with a clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. 3rd down and 8. Hostetler from the shotgun. Jeff trying to get into the 20 to convert. Pressured by Willis, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Meggett, who was well covered at the 20-yard line. Gerald Williams was there.
And I'll tell you, Hostetler gave Meggett a chance for the reception and the first down as he rifled that into Meggett.
And Hostetler and Gerald Williams go at it. Williams earlier going at it with Bart Oates.
And Williams really a guy who has a reputation of being somewhat of a pacifist, if you can say that about a guy who plays nose tackle. But Joe Green at times says, hey, I wish this guy was a little more ornery. I wish he'd get fired up. Well, he certainly is that tonight, jawing at everybody.
45-yard field goal attempt by Barr. And Barr, who began his career here with Pittsburgh in '79, is perfect. And that puts the Giants on top 10-0 with 13:41 remaining in the first half in Pittsburgh.
Once again, Buick is raising the banner for quality in America. Introducing the 1992 LeSabre with a higher level of power, safety, security, and convenience. This new LeSabre is going to be one tough act to follow. LeSabre for 1992 from Buick.
I've got a secret. One of these is full of real live birds. The other's a Hitachi Ultravision TV. And thanks to Ultravision's ultra clear, ultra sharp, ultra bright picture, you probably can't tell which is which. Is the suspense killing you? Okay, I'll show you. Ta-da! Ultravision, only from Hitachi.
Very active man. Gerald Williams, who's been very consistent, has done a fine job this season. He and Bart Oates having at it orally as well as physically before, which is, well, that's a tough battle to win in terms of conversation since Oates is a lawyer.
And after the kick, we're going to show you why he had it out with this guy, Jeff Hostetler. Got a pretty good look at the almost collision they had on the far side of the field.
Here's Barr, who just booted that 45-yard field goal, sending the kickoff to the 9. Rod Woodson is tackled at the 19. There's a flag down. A marker down. That's Adrian White, who makes the tackle, and the penalty will go against Pittsburgh. A beautiful tackle, and the penalty will be against Chris Calloway, who was flagged on the punt return before as well.
Okay, take a look at it. There's Woodson in the middle of the screen, and boy, you're right. That's holding, tackling.
Holding during the return. Number 88 of the receivers, first down and 10.
You could have called that any number of things. It was from behind. That was against Callaway. Here's going to be a good look at it. There's Callaway and White on the right side of the screen, and a tremendous play by Adrian White, considering that he was in the process of being tackled at the same time.
Adrian White, of course, coming back from knee surgery this year, and he's come back really strong, and he's playing some in the nickel and dime, but he has been spectacular on special teams.
He must have been sitting next to Renee Thompson in the meeting. Rubbed off.
First down Steelers at their own 10. They're down 10-0. And Brisker not looking sharp at all. Off the fake. Going deep has Dwight Stone open. Picks him at the Giant 30, and he's tackled at the 23 by Perry Williams.
How far did that ball go in the air?
You're not going to believe it when we add it up. But again, super play action. The Giants brought it all the way. Perry Williams, he was just flat beat by the speed of Dwight Stone. It runs about a 4.25. Look at this. Perry Williams is 15 yards behind it.
Well, he's
just unleashed a bomb.
He's not used to defending 65-yard passes. Brister is standing on his 4-yard line, 5-yard line when he releases that thing.
You know, he lost him, Dan. They looked around, finally found him, and then he had to throw that thing about 65 yards.
Well, it looked like they dropped it from the blimp.
From the 25 now. That's exactly what the Steelers needed, and they set up a screen, and it's intercepted by Collins. Exactly what they didn't need.
And Collins looking for blocking, flags are down, gets it all the way back to the 39-yard line.
Boy, here come the boos.
Flags were after the interception.
Now, he just picked it up.
Well, Gary Reasons hit Merrill Hodge, and that's why the ball was, I think that's why it ended up being intercepted. Hodge wasn't anywhere near where Brister thought he was going to be.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark Collins needs this. He has been having a tough year. He's had trouble in Chicago, a lot of trouble in Dallas, kind of down on.
Oh, that's interference all the way on Reasons.
That's not reviewable.
No, it's not reviewable, but that's why it was an interception.
First down from the 39, and this is batted and incomplete, and that's why I started to say a flag should be thrown. The official was reaching into his pocket and put it back in.
Okay.
I thought he had thrown it.
Watch 55. Right there, he picks off Merrill Hodge. He's the guy that was intended. He was the intended receiver, and Collins just stands there. Oh, that's as bad a non-call as you will ever see.
They showed that on the scoreboard. That's what the booing was all about.
Well, they have every reason to boo. That's not good at all.
Good for the Giants. Second down and 10 at the 39-yard line. They lead 10-0. 12:22 to go in the first half. Here's Hampton, finds a crease and exploits it for a first down all the way to the Steeler 46-yard line, where Woodson forces him out.
You know, maybe only me, but funny watching Hampton. I thought about it before I watched him against the Steelers. He reminds me a whole lot of the way Franco Harris used to run. He turned up so many yards right in this very field, but he runs upright. He has very quick feet. Everything is instinctive. Picks the hole, enormous hole over the left side. Of course, that's where the big guys are, Elliott and Roberts. But really resembles Franco Harris.
Here's Hampton again. After that 15-yard gain, he tacks on about 15 more, and Larry Griffin makes the tackle. So the Steelers momentarily got right back into it. Then the Giants took it back, and now the Giants are trying to, I don't want to say bury him early, but if they go up 17-0, the Steelers are in deep trouble.
Well, when you consider the only thing Pittsburgh has done tonight is the one long pass. I mean, other than that, they haven't hardly run a successful play all evening.
First and 10 at the 31. And this time, the tackle is made by Greg Lloyd as he stops Hampton in his tracks in the backfield for a loss of 2.
Greg Lloyd has had a wonderful season to this point. I mean, he's an outside linebacker for Fort Valley State. He has played as good as any outside linebacker in the NFL to this stage of the season.
Not all that big. They put him in a down position, and he is so quick. We saw him earlier just whip inside of Jumbo Elliott. We've seen him beat him on the outside now.
Second and 13, Ingram in motion. Hostetler slides to a halt at the 28-yard line. Parnell Lake will get credit for the tackle, and that will set up a 3rd and 7.
You know, when Hostetler scrambled like that, it reminded us, all the action happened. We're going to show you that confrontation between Hostetler and Gerald Williams the last time the Giants had the ball. It was a play exactly like that, where Hostetler scrambled out to the right side. And here's Kenny Wolf, our producer, bringing this up. Watch 98. Hostetler has already thrown the ball, and it appears that Williams went after Hostetler. And Jeff Hostetler wasn't happy about it at all. Comes back and confronts Williams with it.
3rd and call it 8 at the 29-yard line. Hostetler will have to get to the 21, and they can only get to the 22.5 as Ingram makes the catch, and they're short of the first down. David Johnson makes the hit.
But it must feel, guys, to this Steeler defense like they have played the entire game to this point, and they almost have. And to limit New York to a field goal attempt at this point in time, a real victory for Pittsburgh, because the Giants are on the verge of just throttling the Steelers right out of here.
Here's Barr for a 40-yard attempt. Barr from 40 through 49 yards this season is 7 of 8, including one tonight from 45. Hostetler to hold it. And Barr's kick again is perfect.
You mentioned before how Barr has got a ring from the Super Bowl when the Steelers beat the Rams back in 1979. Of course, he has one from a year ago also.
And he makes it 13-0 with 9:01 remaining in the first half in Pittsburgh.
So I'm doing my sound check.
Hello, hello, hello.
And I hear this woman's voice.
Crunch that last chord. I'll show you.
She grabbed the guitar.
And then she started rocking. No, I mean rocking.
You're pretty good. Not.
Someone that hot deserves something this cold. Suddenly, I remember this was a bud spot.
I like your style.
It's happening. Some people are climbing out of their imports and getting into the 1992 Buick Regal sedan. Why? One simple, overwhelming consideration. Quality. Buick quality. It's something you might want to get into yourself. Regal from Buick. The new symbol for quality in America and beyond.
10 years. His hair is a little thinner.
I don't remember her looking so beautiful.
Not bad. For an ex-jock. Hello, stranger.
I'm hardly a stranger.
Well, you are late.
I know. You shouldn't have waited 10 years for this. Happy anniversary.
The Diamond Anniversary Band. Tell her you'd marry her all over again.
You sure can pick an appetizer.
Last year, they won their conference crown. This year, that's not enough. The Buffalo Bills battle Boomer Esiason and the Bengals next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
The Giants have dominated the first 21 minutes of this game. 9:01 remaining, first half, 13-0 Giants. The Giants trying to improve their record to 4-3. Steelers coming in with a mark of 3-2. Barr kicking to Woodson. Rod at the 8. And Woodson brings it back out to the 34-yard line as Myron Guyton makes the stop. The Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron providing that beautiful shot of Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. And a reminder, coming up Saturday, college football doubleheader day for us here on ABC, beginning at noon Eastern and 9 Pacific when Tennessee takes on Alabama. And then following that, regional action, Washington and California. Huge game out west. Cal in the top 10 for the first time since I think Pappy Waldorf was there. Illinois against Iowa, Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Baylor. Regional coverage Saturday.
Are you just dismissing the Joe Cap era?
Well, not dismissing it, but things are hot in Berkeley these days. Here is Hodge breaking one out to the 46-yard line, a first down. Stopped by Guyton.
Well, by far and away the best running play for the Steelers so far tonight. A nice hole over on the left side of the line. Just a nice, consistent drive is what the Steelers need. They wouldn't like it. They need it desperately, because here's their first half possessions to date. 3 punts and an interception. And only 1 first down in that whole outing.
Eric Green is in motion. He's been silent so far. Brister throws and then throws it away. Both Malarkey and Green were in the area, but so much pressure was put on. Bubby just unloaded out of bounds.
Giants are really keeping Green silent tonight. They play a 2-deep zone, which is often vulnerable to tight end working in the seams, and the Giants have been using underneath coverage with him off the line of scrimmage, and so far Eric Green has been very quiet. He came in as a leading receiver tonight for the Steelers. There he is, all 6'5", 285 pounds of it.
On 2nd and 10, this is Barry Foster. There's a flag down. He takes it into Giants territory, but the flag coming out of the umpire's pocket. And 99% of the time, that will be the call. Holding offense.
You can file it away when it comes flying out of his hands.
Holding, number 71 on the offense. 10 yards, still first down, second down.
Tom Ricketts.
There's Ricketts, number 71 there, and he's got a bear hug on Leonard Marshall. Doesn't get that arm out of there in time, and it's wide open. The umpire sees it easily. Former #1 draft choice back in '89, a hometown guy here, played his college ball at Pitt. This crowd, though, is going to boo every time Bubby Brister throws the ball away or throws an incompletion. They're down on Bubby.
2nd and 20. Brister hit from behind as he throws, and is a very lucky man that Collins doesn't intercept after Brister gets decked by LT.
Yeah, LT working against Jackson again on the left side, and he's just going to take the circuitous route going all the way up and then coming in the back door. Brister holds on to the ball longer than you can be expected to without running the risk of being hit. You can see Lawrence Taylor, better than anybody in the league at swatting at the ball and the arm, and more often than not getting it.
That's Taylor's version of the tomahawk chop.
Oh, please. I could have gone all night without hearing about the tomahawk chop. Not here. No.
3rd down and 20 at the 36-yard line. And it's dropped by Hodge. Well, in Pittsburgh, they're not too fond of the tomahawk chop, but their Pirates come home leading 3 games to 2. In fact, in Pittsburgh, they're not too fond of Fonda, if you get my drift.
There's Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator, and Chuck Knoll having a little discussion, and the ineffectiveness right now of the Steeler offense. And I think Chuck Knoll is a little bit upset at that call. 3rd and long, and they threw underneath. Had that been a completion, it still would have been 4th down.
Maybe we'll just show the replay of that long pass to Stone again.
Here's the kick, and a fair catch by Meggett at the 26 off the foot of Dan Straczynski. And we have 7:16 remaining after a 38-yard punt. 7:16 left in the half. 13-0 Giants.
Once again, Buick is raising the banner for quality in America. Introducing the 1992 LeSabre with a higher level of power, safety, security, and convenience. This new LeSabre is going to be one tough act to follow. LeSabre for 1992 from Buick.
What's up? The talking elephants our sales force left with yesterday?
Yeah, there's been a little problem. Do we have any that speak elephant? So who's going to get them to all of our salesmen?
One company offers 1030 delivery to more places than anyone and treats them all with mammoth importance.
Presenting Hugo, the talking elephant.
Federal Express, our most important package, is yours.
When it comes to brake repairs, some places give you a guesstimate. Midas gives you an estimate in writing, a thorough inspection, then a price that's right. At Midas, we do brake work, not guesswork. Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
The IBM Laser Printer 10 can print 700 pages without reloading. 3 times more than the leading laser printer. They just don't stack up. The new IBM laser printers put you pages ahead.
Saturday.
Come on, let's go.
Make a date with Madonna.
Shut up and kiss me.
It's the network television premiere.
Is that the best you can do?
Who's That Girl? Saturday.
Giants on top, and they have the ball. They lead 13-0 with 7:16 remaining in the first half in Pittsburgh. Giants dominating on both sides of the ball thus far. 2-1 edge in time of possession. This is Lewis Tillman getting his first carry of the night.
David Little is in on the hit. Well, a big game for the Giants. I mean, Washington is 7-0. Dallas is 5-2. The Giants trying to go 4-3. They have a week off next week, and then Washington. So a very critical game for the Giants, just to stay really pretty much in contention in the NFC East.
The Steelers are down 13 points, but the Giants are still troubled with what's been bothering them. They've moved the ball well in the middle of the field. They get down. They have to settle for the field goal. They don't get the touchdown, and you get a Woodson run back or something, the Steelers are right back in the game.
Well, something miraculous will have to happen for Pittsburgh. I mean, don't they just have one first down at this point in time?
Whoa! And that was that long pass to Stone.
Right.
They have two now, as Maurice Carthen gets hit up at the 31-yard line. They did pick up one other. Carthen is stopped by David Johnson. They got the other first down on that Hodge 12-yard run.
Ah, you're right.
And it could be a Steeler first-half syndrome, too, last week against Indianapolis. They ultimately won, but they didn't play really dominating football until the second half. They were a different football team in the first half and the second half.
Well, this is a situation where a team's defense is being asked to do more than you might reasonably expect. And right now, the Steelers defensively look like they're going to have to turn it around if it can be done.
3rd and 5 up at the 31-yard line. Hostetler throws, and the catch is made by Ed McCaffrey, the Stanford rookie, enough for a first down up at the 37-yard line. Carnell Lake makes the hit, and the clock continues to run with 5:35 to go in the half.
Couple of first down receptions now for McCaffrey. We have had 4 coming in, a 3rd-round draft pick out of Stanford University, where Ray Hanley coached for a couple of, but they're actually 3 times, didn't he?
An assistant there. Hostetler from the 38-yard line gives to Hampton, and he gets banged down at the 40-yard line by Lloyd first, and then Gerald Williams.
Did you see that hit by Lloyd? This is the type of thing that if you've only ever witnessed professional football from your couch or from the stands, if you're ever down on the field close enough to see a collision like this between Hampton and Lloyd, watch from the left.
Or just hear it.
It's frightening. It is frightening. Watch it at regular speed. I mean, that's only big boys need apply for this kind of work. That's tall stuff.
Of course, it's frightening if your head in that helmet.
Yeah.
2nd and 8. Hampton picks up a hard-earned 2 yards. David Johnson comes up to make the stop. But there at Carnell Lake.
You know, we talked earlier, guys, about Jeff Hostetler and his numbers of the last couple of weeks. What was it, 42 out of 52?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all season long, even after the first couple of weeks, people were saying, well, maybe it's, they should have gone with Phil Simms, or maybe it's time to make a move. Jeff Hostetler has really played well all season long. Maybe a couple games he didn't play great, but he has played, in my estimation, winning football through the entire balance of the season to this point. Very, very accurate.
Agreed. 3rd and 5. Hostetler dancing and darting and looking for that first down, and that's winning football right there.
Yeah.
First down at the 49 of Pittsburgh.
When you have the ability to run like Hostetler has, when you scramble around back there, you have 2 options: to go upfield, and if you get the chance, you do that, but if you don't, you can pull it down and run. Now, he had a potential receiver deep downfield, and right about here he thought about it, said, hey, I can make this on my own.
Well, one of the other things he might have done there, too, did you see his lineman break in front of him? I'm not so sure Hostetler didn't sense that maybe some of his linemen had already crossed the line of scrimmage and realized he couldn't throw.
And you're factoring all of that in, as everything happens in milliseconds.
It takes gray matter to make that happen.
First down, New York at midfield. 3 minutes to go in the half. 13-0 New York. Hampton to the 46-yard line.
We talked about his numbers. Hostetler, 42 of 52, 560-plus yards. But with all of those yards that they put together in the last 2 games, he has only thrown for 2 touchdown passes in those 2 games. Hard to believe you can pass for almost 600 yards and only get a couple of touchdowns. But again, they have been getting deep into the opposition's territory and settling for 3.
First Giants quarterback to complete 3/4 of his passes over back-to-back games, and Hostetler throws, and that is Carthen making a fine catch at the 42-yard line, tackled there by Gerald Williams, and the Giants will probably just let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning and have a 3rd and 3 when play resumes.
Again, a little more of the rollout, the bootleg, but the Steelers right with him, and Hostetler showing a lot of strength in that right arm because he threw that totally with his arm.
So we have 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The Giants moving again, leading 13-0. And now it's time for a feature on what's new in the world of sports, science, and technology.
Sports and Science Converge, brought to you by AT&T, sponsor of the '92 U.S. Olympic team. What new development in golf club design is helping to reduce bad shots by enabling golfers to hit the ball straighter and farther? The answer in a moment.
Did you know that the most valuable patent ever issued went to a small business owner, Alexander Graham Bell? Since then, AT&T has stayed on the cutting edge of communications. For example, AT&T just invented a new 800 service for small businesses. It uses your existing line and costs only $6 a month. At AT&T, almost half our business comes from small business. When you succeed, we succeed. Call about our 800 offer.
The cavity-backed wood's unique cutout design redistributes the weight of the club head, which reduces twisting, resulting in a straighter ball. In the manufacturer's testing, as well as an independent test, the new wood outperformed nearly all other clubs tested in both distance and dispersion.
You've been up in the air for hours. Now you've got to make up the time. Aren't you glad Hertz has a faster, easier way to rent a car? #1 Club Gold. No paperwork, no stopping at counters, nothing to slow you down. You go straight to our Gold parking area, where your car is waiting, ready to go. It's our fastest way to rent a car.
I'm gonna make it.
Call Hertz today for low daily rates on Lincolns with free unlimited mileage.
Hertz, we're America's wheels.
Reminder, Wednesday, beginning at 8 o'clock, 7 Central. That lineup, Dinosaurs, The Wonder Years, Doogie Howser, Sibs, Anything But Love, Good and Evil. The Wednesday, all-new, all-comedy Wednesday on ABC. It's been all comedy for those guys as you look at the Giant brass. They've enjoyed every minute of the first half. Wellington Marrow was the man on the left. 3rd down and 3, New York. 2 minutes to go in the half. They lead 13-0. Hostetler, this time he can't scramble for the first, can only take it back to the 43, stopped by Willis. And the Giants are forced to punt. A beautiful shot downtown Pittsburgh. That's the Golden Triangle at the confluence of the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio rivers. Beautiful shot.
Not to mention where they all run together.
Yep.
Those are Super Bowl type numbers for the Giants in terms of time of possession.
Sean Landeta, who has been seldom used in the last 3 weeks. It's only his 3rd punt in the last 3 games. Giants are letting the clock run all the way down, and they'll take the penalty here because as far as they're concerned, all they wanted to do right now is take as much time off the clock as they could. You know, it's a funny thing too.
They almost got the offside too, Al.
Pittsburgh's almost making a statement here offensively by not taking the timeout. Knowing the Giants have to punt, it's almost as if Noel is saying, hey, wait a second, we got to go back and regroup and get this offense recharged in the clubhouse.
And I'm not so sure that that's a poor decision when you look at where they're probably going to get the ball. Here's a poocher by Landeta that ends up inside the 20-yard line.
Fair caught by Woodson, who then starts to run with the ball, but it is spotted where he made the catch after a 24-yard poocher.
But again, against Indianapolis, the Steelers were a lethargy team in the first half. They came out and exploded in the second half. And I think maybe that's what Chuck Noll is thinking. But I know you're going to say, but this is not Indianapolis.
No, they're not.
I'm a company man, let's face it. Stick around. It's going to be fun.
Good, Frank.
Tennessee tackles Alabama Saturday on ABC's College Football.
It's a car born of intelligent engineering. It's 100,000 ideas fused into one. It's responsive, innovative, refined. It's a driver's side airbag and anti-lock brakes. Introducing the all-new 88 Royale LS. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
Norelco doesn't just shave you close, but incredibly close. Or merely shave you in comfort, but in exceptional comfort. Because the Norelco razor's patented lift and cut system lifts the hair, so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. And once you've shaved that incredibly close with exceptional comfort, you know you'll always be comfortable shaving with a Norelco. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
Three River Stadium, Pittsburgh. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf, with the Giants are on top 13-0. The Steelers have the ball at their own 19-yard line, 1st and 10.
And President Dan Rooney tells us the largest demand for tickets he has faced here, even though they sell out every game, in over 10 years.
Brister from the shotgun throws. That's Malarkey, the tight end. He is wrestled down by Perry Williams up at the 26-yard line.
And yet here go the Steelers into a hurry-up. Now, how do you figure this? They let that time expires. They lose about 40 seconds, and now they go into a hurry-up.
That'd be one of your more careful hurry-ups also.
Yep, 2nd down and 3. It's a quasi hurry-up. Here's Lewis Lips out of bounds at the 31. 47 ticks remaining in the half.
Lips was questionable all week with that pulled muscle. Missed all of last week against Indianapolis. Been troubled for a long time with it. And, of course, he is their key man. Over 50 receptions in each of the last 3 years. And he has been only a minor part of the offense for the past few weeks.
Lips is coming out on 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line.
Yeah, and they don't have him in there, too. They have trouble on the outside. A lot of youth.
Well, they have Dwight Stone at the bottom. Chris Calloway at the top. And on 1st down, Brister's going to unload for Stone, but that one is thrown out of bounds. Stone was the man who was on the other end of the long bomb before. Collins and Jackson covering.
And Jackson doing exactly what a safety is supposed to do. Get over there and help out your corner on that deep pattern. And he put the receiver in such a spot that there was absolutely no way for Brister to get the ball in there without getting it picked off. A very, very good performance so far by the New York Giants.
Jackson didn't play last week, and he's out there now, and the Giants in their prevent defense.
2nd down and 10. And underneath miscommunication there, Hodge was turning as the pass was thrown, and it's incomplete. It's 3rd down and 10.
Bubby Brister's protection just collapsed. He had to deliver that ball or take the sack.
Marshall and Pepper Johnson were moving in on him.
Well, Hodge turned to the sideline, and Brister, needless to say, expected him to either button hook and stop right where he was or turn to the inside, and the ball hits him on the heel. It has been that type of a half.
3rd and 10. Here's a flag thrown.
I guess it's a non-play. Some sort of a false start, probably.
Before the snap, false start, number 62 of the offense. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Tunch Ilkin.
Their veteran right tackle. Been here for a dozen years. He's the right tackle. We'll take a look at it. He's 2nd from the bottom, and yep, only about a 1.5 seconds before the snap. Tunch.
Born in Turkey. In fact, his mother was a former Miss Turkey.
What was the name of that dog on Saturday Night Live that they used to let drive the car? What was
Tunsis? 3rd and 15. Incomplete, intended for Lewis Lips, and all of this means nothing.
I knew it rang a bell.
Yes, it did. No relation to Tunch Ilkin.
Tunch also a Pro Bowler. I remember when he came up 12 years ago, and they joked a lot about him, but he was a Pro Bowler a couple of years ago, and going up for the football and hit by Myron Guyton is Lewis Lips.
Yeah, you got to come down and demonstrate that you have possession of the football. Lips did not. Oh, and another bad snap.
But a great pickup by Skorzinski. And another good Steeler bounce. And it's dead at the 25-yard line with 14 seconds.
Dan talked about the artificial surface will often help a kicker, a punter. It'll take a true bounce for you, and this one kind of dribbled along the line 3 or 4 times. And fielded well.
Good concentration by Straczynski.
And then he gets the artificial bounce.
Almost like a shortstop, stayed down on the ball and stayed with it, and then had plenty of time. That was kind of a lackluster rush by the Giants, who were set up in a return. If they'd have been in an all-out blocking attempt, I think they might have gotten that.
If Jay Bell needs a backup on Wednesday night, this guy's available. Giants will do a kneel down here to run the clock out, and that's going to take care of the first half.
I had an interesting conversation with Lawrence Taylor this past week. Stick around. I think you're going to enjoy that.
And Toonces will drive his Steelers into the locker room. Try to regroup.
We'll be back, we think, with halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC station.
I'm Merrill Hodge of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And today, Pittsburgh and our nation are celebrating. A salute to our armed forces for winning a war and in winning something much more. Today we march side by side in celebrations, not only to our victory in war, but in the courage, caring, and commitment that shows we're a nation that cares. It began on January 15th, 1991. Hundreds of thousands of U.S. servicemen and women were fighting a war in the Persian Gulf. At that moment of crisis, a second mobilization took place here at home. United Way established the Desert Storm Operations Center. While the USO and the American Red Cross provided services to our troops, other United Way agencies focused on providing services to military families across the nation. With your continued support, United Way assures that this voluntary network will respond quickly and effectively. We're only there because you give and you care. When people need help, we're there. The United Way, it brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Wednesday, it's radical subversive satire.
Television is responsible for the utter degradation of our society.
Don't say you haven't seen dinosaurs. Then hang out at the mall.
Sure beats working in a hardware store, huh, Kev?
It's boring, it's hard work, and it's no fun, okay?
Whoever said a job is supposed to be fun?
The Wonder Years, Wednesday.
Atlanta's future looks great. The 96 Olympic Games, the 94 Super Bowl, and this newly designed 92 Ford Taurus made right here in Atlanta. Not only have they enhanced the ride, they've also enhanced the warranty. 3 years, 36,000 miles, bumper to bumper. Plus, they've offered a second airbag for the passenger. Yet the new 92 Ford Taurus remains affordable. That's why your Atlanta area Ford dealers are #1.
They say that in the future, we will grocery shop by computer. Well, personally, I would rather squeeze the tomatoes myself, but I'm sure glad that Winn-Dixie shops by computer. By using computers, they track down the best deals. They call these deals power buys, and you'll find them on every aisle at Winn-Dixie. Power buys are another way Winn-Dixie gives you low prices nobody can beat. Nobody.
Pardons and paroles tomorrow at 6 on Channel 2 Action News.
The Toyota Halftime Report. Brought to you by Toyota and the all-new, totally redesigned Camry. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Here now, Frank Gifford.
We're at halftime, Three Rivers Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. Amid all the changes with the Giants we've talked about tonight, there remains one key constant, LT, Lawrence Taylor. True, he may not be the incredible force he was a few years ago, but he is playing great thus far this year, almost as though he has a sense of his own football mortality. He has also taken on more of a visible leadership role this year, speaking out softly but strongly on many issues, football, personal, and social.
It's been very difficult for me and for my teammates to go into a season where we are defending champions, to have a good team and not play up to our expectations. I think it's up to myself and a lot of the other veterans, guys have been here for a long time, the guys have been through the wars, to help the team along, to get them back in the right frame of mind.
Hostetler is playing great football. You were outspoken, as a lot of people were, that you felt that Phil should have been the start at the beginning of the season. Is that behind this ball club now?
It's easy to second guess. It's easy for when Hoppy's not playing well or not doing some of the things you think he should be doing. You're saying, well, God, Phil should be in there. So we have to decide on a quarterback, and they have decided on Jeff Hostetler. And we're going to stick beside him and behind him until he proves he can't do it. And right now, he has not showed an indication that he cannot be a big-time quarterback in this league.
If you were to grade Ray Hanley, there's no secret you were Bill Parcells' maybe his most loved player. You must have some thoughts about it. I mean, the way he has taken over and the way he has directed the team.
Well, Ray's in a no-win situation right now, but you got to understand, I remember in 1982, 83, something like that, another man took over this New York Giant team, went 3-12-1, and that guy turned that season, or turned the team around and went to 2 Super Bowls. So it can be done. Ray has a better team now. We'll be able to do it. It may not be this year. It may not be next year, but we will be back, and the guy that's going to guide us there will be Ray Hanley. It's said, and there's a stir, and then it's forgotten about. And that's the way it always has been. It's completely forgotten, and life goes on as usual. Nothing ever happens.
What do you tell your kids do you talk about racism?
They have to understand that, you know, you must be proud to be who you are. You can't be somebody else. You don't put on a facade. You don't try to act one way when you're not that one way. Be proud of being black, because that's your heritage. I still have a little football left in me. I can still play pretty good. I do believe that when it's time for me to go, I will make that decision. I won't have anybody making that decision for me. I will make it myself. And how long I expect to play, I haven't made my mind yet, but I'm going to either retire after this season or next season.
You're going to miss 76,000 people.
Well, I miss them. Well, I miss 76,000 people. Well, they can all come over and visit sometime, but one at a time.
To celebrate the 21st century a little early. Introducing the all-new 1992 Toyota Camry. We just couldn't leave well enough alone.
The Tennessee Volunteers are Alabama bound for a high noon showdown with the Crimson Tide. Then regional coverage of key conference matchups follows. Number 3 Washington meets Pac-10 rival California. Illinois takes on Iowa. Colorado tackles Oklahoma. Or Texas A&M battles Baylor. It's an ABC college football doubleheader Saturday.
Spectacular night in Pittsburgh, where Three Rivers Stadium, the Giants lead the Steelers 13-0 at halftime. Frank Gifford along with Al Michaels, Dan Dierdorf. The Giants once again dominating, but one of the problems they've had when they get down close, they have to settle for the 3, and this has been troublesome for this team.
It is. There's no question about it. They only scored 1 touchdown with 2 field goals, but it's as one-sided a 13-0 game as you will ever see at the half. And the only time the Giants were able to get the ball into the end zone, it was Hostetler culminating a 75-yard drive with a pass to Howard Cross. And then Barr, as we said, was able to kick 2 field goals to make it 13-0 at the half. And here was the only touchdown of the first half. Hostetler wrapping up this drive, and this was Cross's first touchdown reception of the season and the second in his 3 years in the league. And, of course, it's Cross now playing a vital role at tight end, the spot vacated by Mark Bavaro. Dan, Chuck Noll has seen it all in 23 years as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're down 13-0. You're limited offensively. What do you do in the second half?
Well, first of all, he has seen his teams play better and been down by more. I mean, that's what he told his team at halftime, I'm sure. We are still only 2 touchdowns down, and that is within striking distance. It sounds trite, but they better get one of them and get one of them in a hurry. The Steelers need a touchdown desperately.
We'll be back at Three Rivers Stadium. Second half action coming up in a moment.
Power windows are just one of the many useful features you get with the extra value option package on the 1992 Toyota 4Runner. So is air conditioning, power door locks, cruise control, power side mirrors, and special chrome trim. Of course, up to $900 savings is a pretty nice feature, too. And just imagine what you can do with that.
The Toyota Halftime Report has been brought to you by Toyota and their quality line of 1992 cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. We'll be back with the second half after this from our ABC stations.
Tuesday.
Was he Catholic?
It was a time of old prejudices.
I didn't ask. You can't date a divorced man. I am not dating him. I am meeting him. My mother warned me to try to get me into bed, and all you want to do is get me into your union.
Which should be easier. And second thoughts.
Let's go to the movies sometime.
Is the movies all you had in mind? I'll go to the movies with you, so long as you understand that what happened last night will never happen again till after I'm married.
Homefront, Tuesday.
This is a Channel 2 Action News update. Coverage you can count on.
Coming up after the game on the Night Beat, on the eve of the Clarence Thomas vote, the judge remains silent, but his accuser, Anita Hill, keeps talking. And the senators who must vote consider last-minute appeals from their constituents.
The Braves try to shrug off missed opportunities in their loss to the Pirates today. We'll show you how to get to Pittsburgh to see the Braves try to bounce back in Game 6.
Also on the Night Beat after the game, the Reverend Jimmy Swaggart sweats out another scandal involving a prostitute. And there are some newspaper reports say he may quit preaching.
And police now have a description of a suspect wanted for killing a grocery store clerk who tried to help a motorist. Now the grocery store is offering a $10,000 reward for the capture of the accused murderer.
And several explosions at a welding company in North Carolina caused authorities to evacuate nearby businesses. We'll have the latest. Good evening. I'm Don Farmer.
And I'm Monica Kaufman. Join us on the Channel 2 Action News Night Beat after the game.
We will make a building that dominates the skyline. Blend as well.
Imagine the world's greatest architects collaborating on one building.
No sense of history.
I want to make history.
If they don't share the same vision, well... Fortunately, in business communications, there is a company that can combine an array of services with your ideas to structure a system that your business can build on while avoiding the pitfalls of collaboration.
One engine was filled with Castrol Syntec, a new synthetic oil, the rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec's unique molecular structure bonds to engine parts, leaving a protective layer up to 4 times greater than conventional oils. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
Castrol Syntec Motor Oil. Ask for it at your nearby tune-up clinic.
Pardons and paroles tomorrow at 6 on Channel 2 Action News.
ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The New York Giants versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by Mercedes-Benz. Engineered like no other car in the world.
Back we come to Three River Stadium as we start the third quarter. And the Giants, who have dominated tonight, will be getting the football. Gary Anderson to kick off. Phil Simms on the left, who has not played at all this season. but has certainly been all class.
And has his chin strap buckled up. That's wishful thinking.
Anderson's kick is taken at the 3-yard line, and David Meggett runs it back out to the 19-yard line. From there will the Giants start their first second half possession. Well, next week we make our first visit of the year to Rich Stadium in Buffalo, where the Bills, with a mark of 6-1, will be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, who are, shall we say, hungry.
I mean, truly
starving.
I mean, really astounding that the Bengals at this stage of the season are winless. I don't know that there's a bigger story in the NFL right now. I think New Orleans and they're being undefeated and the great play of the Redskins, but boy, that ranks right up there.
First down at the 19-yard line. Hostetler throws and it's incomplete along the far side. That is Odessa Turner, unable to hang on to it. Well, the Giants have been dominant in recent times in time of possession, and they have been dominant tonight in that area and every other. First downs, you name it, except for passing, but of that 97, most of it was on the one play to Dwight Stone for the Steelers.
You know, you talked about the class of Phil Simms not causing any problems when he sat down for Hostetler. Well, Otis Anderson has done the same thing for Rodney Hampton. He didn't carry the ball at all last week. And number 27 you're looking at right now is the running back for the future and for now.
2nd and 10. Hampton picks up 5, takes it up to the 24-yard line. In fact, Ray Handley was telling us last night that Hampton is backed up by Tillman. And so if you had a depth chart, Otis Anderson goes from 1 to 3.
You know, I thought it was also very aware of the coach to also say, look, I may have an impact on what might happen to them later when it comes time for Hall of Fame voting, and both of them have to be considered. Otis Anderson over 10,000 yards, and Phil Simms at the Super Bowl championship, great numbers in Super Bowl 21.
3rd down and 5, 3rd and 4, let's call it, at the 25-yard line as Hostetler out of the gun is pressured, but then steps up, seeks the first down, and has it up at the 32-yard line.
And that's an athlete's awareness, too, of where he had to be. He could have sprung that out and might not have got the first down. And planted the left foot, broke it back in, got beyond the markers for the first. He has tremendous speed. During his first few years when he was frustrated not playing, he used to go down on punts. He's a fine athlete and very aware of where he is on the field.
That's the 3rd first down that Hostetler has rushed for tonight.
So disheartening for a defense when that quarterback scrambles out of there and does that. It's more than just a first down. It's a backbreaker.
Hampton. And that's just what you want to do on first down. Pick up 8 or 9 on the ground, but there is a flag down back at the 31-yard line, and you can tell by Hostetler's reaction it's going to go against White.
This is how a 2nd and 2 becomes a 1st and 20. Real quick.
Red Cashin, our referee tonight.
Holding during the run. Number 65 on the offense. 10 yards, still first down.
A real tough assignment for Bart Oates, who's charged with blocking a man who's in his gap to the side of the play. In other words, he's already spotted the guy a couple feet going towards the play. I think Gerald Williams, number 98, the nose tackle. See, look at Williams. 98 is already moving that direction, and Oates really got the hand right up underneath the face mask and around the throat, and gets called for the hold, but boy, that's putting him in a tough spot to start with.
From the 21 on 1st and 20 on a delay, this is Hampton, and he gets gang tackled up at the 25-yard line. So much of the Giants' success, of course, in recent times due to that offensive line and keeping those guys together and keeping them healthy. And Oates and Riesenberg and Roberts, when you look at those numbers, don't think of it this way. A season is 16 games. And so even a guy like William Roberts is, well, he has the equivalent of 2.5 years without missing a start.
And there's no other segment of the team where meshing and working together over an extended period of time is more important than in the offensive line.
2nd and 16. It was a blitz by Lake, but he was picked up when the pass is deflected and incomplete. Ryan Hinkle got a hand on it. And it will be 3rd and long.
You know, he took a quick shot earlier of George Young. He has been the one constant with these Giants going back to 1979. He drafted Phil Simms. He was there when they picked up Lawrence Taylor. But over the years, he has worked to build that offensive line. They build through the draft. They have 10 number 1s on their roster. They have 7 number 2s, 6 number 3s, and that was George Young.
Who looked like he wanted the bite of that guy's sandwich.
Yeah, many think he is as good as there is in this league as far as personnel is concerned.
3rd down and 16 from the 25-yard line. 12:01 to go in the 3rd. 13-0 Giants.
Whoa.
Swinging out to make it. He has to get to the 41 for a first, and he's run out of bounds by Carnell Lake up at the 33.
Oh, Jeff Hostetler's upset. Greg Lloyd, again, just a masterful move to rush Hostetler. But after Hostetler threw the ball, he gave him a kiss, boy. He planted him firmly on his backside. Greg Lloyd's just playing a tremendous football game.
And even after that, Hostetler, even after he went down, he went up to Lloyd.
That's roughing the quarterback, Frank.
He went up to Lloyd and said something.
Yeah, well, he should have. I mean, he took 2 or 3 steps and put a helmet right on Hostetler after he had thrown the ball. That should have drawn the flag as well.
Here's Landetta to punt. Line drive, and Woodson at the 30-yard line takes it back to the 40-yard line.
But the Giants complaining.
You know,
Renee Thompson going wild that he signaled a fair catch.
Renee thought he did.
He didn't put his hand up, but he sure gave the type of signal that would indicate to the covering team.
Oh, they've got him.
That he is going to call for a fair catch.
Well, he certainly confused the Giants. Thompson is just beside himself. The Steeler offense certainly acting like it. All right, here's Woodson approaching the ball.
Oh, it's very close. I mean, he indicated.
Well,
get it way up there.
26, signal a fair catch and ran 5 yards, 1st down and 10.
You can't even simulate it. Once you do that, you are going to draw a flag.
Although they tell you you should put your hand way above your shoulder and wave it back and forth, but that certainly looked like Rod Woodson was attempting to display the fair catch signal.
It was born out of 100 years of experience, shaped by an engineering vision that saw everything except limits. The new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the car of a lifetime for the people who have created it and for the people who will drive it.
I have Denorex on this side. As soon as I put Denorex on my hair, I felt like the itch was going away.
What does the Denorex tingle tell you?
The tingle feels like it's taken away the dandruff.
Denorex shampoo and conditioner has strong medicine to fight dandruff and its itch, plus conditioners to leave hair healthy looking and manageable.
The Denorex tingle tells me it works, and I see that it works. I have no dandruff, and I have no itch.
Denorex with conditioners, the dandruff shampoo you can feel working.
It's not my birthday. It's not Mother's Day. Why do I deserve this?
It was free, Mom.
Now come to Burger King and get a frosted Coca-Cola glass free. All you have to do is buy a great-tasting BK broiler combo or any large sandwich combo.
If we come back for dinner, I'll have a set of 12.
Those are from my Aunt Rose.
I know.
So hurry to Burger King and get a collectible Coca-Cola glass free before we run out.
Tennessee sends its volunteer army into Alabama for an SEC showdown with the Crimson Tide Saturday on ABC's College Football.
Shall we say don't invite him?
Oh, Jeff Hostetler has been defending himself tonight. He was confrontation with Gerald Williams, and after that last play with Greg Lloyd. We'll show it to you after this play.
First down, Pittsburgh, 25, and Brister gets dumped. The ball comes loose. A flag is down. The play is...
Yeah. Every time I promise something, we'll show it to him. I think we better look at this first.
It's against Pittsburgh for holding.
Well, you had Marshall and Taylor and The entire front of the Giants defense all over Brister. No chance to get rid of the ball.
That was a case of the pocket being sewn shut.
Hasselrig was the guy who picked it up.
Options being given to Taylor following the sack.
Holding left tackle on the offense. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Well, the left tackle is John Jackson. At the bottom of the screen, there's Lawrence Taylor standing up. All right, he takes an inside move. Jackson grabs him, pulls his jersey, but still, Freeman is there, Marshall is there. That's an onslaught, and the ball comes out. This has been a very unproductive day for the Steeler offense. They're trying
to review by the replay official. The play stand. Second down.
I think what they were reviewing is whether the play was dead or not before the fumble, and the only difference that makes is where it would be spotted right now. Hasselrig picked it up and went out of bounds with it at the 15-yard line.
After this play, we'll show you Greg Lloyd and Jeff Hostetler.
2nd and 20. Here is Merrill Hodge picking up 7 to make it 3rd down and 13.
All right, now watch this. Here's Lloyd right here. Here's Jumbo Elliott right here. Watch the great inside move by Lloyd. Lloyd only weighs 223 pounds. Gets inside, but Hostetler throws the ball, and Lloyd takes 3 steps and levels Hostetler. And I don't know what Red Cashin, the referee, is looking at. That's his responsibility to call that, and that is blatant roughing the quarterback. And Jeff Hostetler got up to complain about it.
3rd and 13 at the 22-yard line. 10:25 left, 3rd quarter. 13-0 Giants. Brister dumped by Pepper Johnson at the 14-yard line. Another sack. So 2 sacks on the series. 1 by Marshall, 1 by Johnson, and the Steelers can't get out of their own way.
Pepper Johnson coming all the way from the outside left side, threading through the blocks, and Brister is buried again.
Dave Meggett sets up at his own 45-yard line to receive the kick. Greg Lloyd to snap it again. This will be an adventure. Dan Straczynski, the punter. Good snap this time. And a fair kick and a fair catch at the 48-yard line made by Meggett.
Giants went for the block there. They have been watching those bad snaps. They thought they could get it, and they almost did.
35-yard punt. Another look at the sack by Brister. Giants have the ball in Pittsburgh territory. 9:45 left in the 3rd.
You have built a rewarding life on understanding the difference between excellence and next best, because you have learned the value of the difference. Now, Mercedes-Benz has built the car for you. The new S-Class, the car of a lifetime, for the people who created it, for the people who will drive it.
Education, it affects all of us.
You need education to get through life, period. So many kids get lost.
Right now, IBM is working with school systems across America. We're donating equipment, volunteering time to tutor students, and creating new ways for computers to help teachers teach and better prepare young people for the world they're about to inherit.
I'm not without hope.
The Bengals and the Bills get it on under the lights. It's a shuffle on to Buffalo Monday night.
Clearly, the Pittsburgh Pirate charter has arrived back safely. Barry Bonds, who this afternoon, along with his Pittsburgh mates, beat Atlanta 1-0, leading in the National League Championship Series 3-2, and getting ready for Game 6 here on Wednesday night. So Bonds is back in the stadium. He got a big hand when he walked in. As the Giants with the flea flicker, Hostetler incomplete as the Steelers didn't bite.
And Hostetler is hurt.
Ingram, and Hostetler, who's been taking shots all night long, got hit that time by Evans.
He got trampled by Evans.
Just trying to catch his wind. He got hit right where you think you're going to die. Wish you could, but you can't.
And you saw Phil Simms. Well,
he was ready, wasn't he? He started getting ready last night.
He can afford to smile because Hostetler gets back up and appears to be okay.
Good defense on the part of the Steelers. The flea flicker having no effect on them. Right in the stomach. Out goes the air. And like I said, if you've never experienced that, you have no way to explain it.
And you're also lucky.
Here's Lewis Tillman on 2nd and 10, getting a yard, and that's all.
You have to compliment the Giants on how well they have played tonight. I mean, they are playing good, sound football, and offensively they're doing nothing spectacular, but they're doing more than enough to win. Offensively for the Steelers, they have just been pathetic. Defensively for the Steelers, I'm really admiring the way they are playing. They are hitting, they are hustling. You know, they must be sensing themselves that I wonder if we played all night, if we would score any points. But yet they're still playing hard. And there's a look at Neil O'Donnell, the backup quarterback, who looking to me like a guy who might be coming into the game.
He was warming up when we went to commercial before. 3rd down and 9. And this pass is caught at the 32 by Odessa Turner, who was released by the Giants. No interest shown in him in plan B. And in fact, everybody around the Giants will tell you, had Parcells remained, there's no way Turner would have come back. And it was Hanley's choice to bring Odessa back and give him another shot.
Great athlete, a lot of knee problems over the past couple of years. Good speed, and Rod Woodson, the Pro Bowl cornerback, recognizing that speed, was caught on the back foot, and Odessa Turner broke it to the inside. And a fine pass by Hostetler.
Yeah, that's even for a guy like Woodson, Frank, that's pretty tough to break up when it's thrown that well and a guy comes back for it.
1st and 10 at the 31 for the Giants. Hampton back in the game. Next to no gain. Stopped by David Johnson. 2nd and 9. James Maloney is at the controls tonight. The Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron, based in Akron, Ohio, which is not that far from Pittsburgh, hovering high above the Steel City, the Golden Triangle, Three River Stadium.
Beautiful city. Do you watch it being rebuilt over the past couple of decades? Smiling me, Dan. I've been coming here for a few decades.
This is my neck of the woods.
Played the Steelers in 3 different stadiums here.
2nd and 9, and again Lloyd gets the Hostetler. The pass is tipped and incomplete. Intended for Odessa Turner.
Well, if you know anything about defensive football and how to play linebacker, and you didn't know much about Greg Lloyd before this game, at the very least, leave tonight's telecast with a great deal of respect for the way this guy's playing.
Those numbers underweight, 223, and he is working principally tonight against a 300-pound John Elliott, and he is just out-quicking you.
That time he jumped around William Roberts, I believe, and got in on the play, but this guy is, that's something Hostetler is having difficulty doing tonight.
3rd and 9 at the 31. 7:23 left in the 3rd as Mega takes the handoff, picks up the 1st down and a lot more, and goes all the way for a touchdown. Now off a great block by Odessa Turner. 30 yards.
Odessa Turner, Al and Frank, effectively took 2 people out of the play. He screened off one guy, saw that he wasn't making a concerted effort for the play, and then peeled off and got somebody else. I mean, that's just alert championship football by Odessa Turner.
You know, and I think some of the critics were probably saying, hey, this is conservative football. They would have been really critical of this play if it had not gone for the big gainer that it did, because it is a conservative call, but you know you're going to get yardage enough for the field goal, and Meggett breaks it all the way.
Barr for the point after. This has the look of a review for some reason. I'm not quite sure. What it actually does is has the look of resetting the play clock. So that's why we had the momentary delay, and here's Barr at a Hostetler's hold. So the Giants keep the drive going with a 3rd down conversion early in the drive, and then score a touchdown on a 3rd and 9. Dave Meggett takes it in. Gents 20, Steelers 7.
It was born out of 100 years of experience, shaped by an engineering vision that saw everything except limits. The new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the car of a lifetime for the people who have created it and for the people who will drive it.
We built this business.
They came in with their big pumps and stopped the flooding. Saved my business. All I've worked for.
Built this business.
Your people really cared. It meant a lot to us.
They lent me the money. Without it, Debbie couldn't have started college.
We built this business to build your dreams.
New Britain, Connecticut is 119 miles from New York City. It only seems farther than that. People here live in the same houses their parents lived in, worship in churches where their grandparents worshipped, and work for the company their great-grandfathers built, the Stanley Works. So it's not surprising Stanley tools are made to last. It would only be surprising if they weren't.
In 6 days,
Good, good.
Dynasty rises again.
You're the most exciting man I've ever had.
Dynasty, the reunion, Sunday.
Dave Meggett capping that last drive with a 30-yard touchdown run. We have 7:13 remaining in the third quarter. In Pittsburgh, the Giants are on top 20-0. Barr kicks off. Rod Woodson from the 9. Fumble. Recovers it himself at the 27-yard line.
You know, a lot of facets go into a successful play and a touchdown play. I want you to take a look at what Odessa Turner did on the last one by Meggett. Here is Turner here, fronted up on Delton Hall. He's going to see Hall's not going to make the play. He's going to come back over here and pick off Larry Griffin. Now watch this. And then Hall is totally mesmerized and allows Meggett to just streak right past him. But Odessa Turner took 2 Pittsburgh Steelers out of the play and sprung Meggett for the end zone.
Here is Neil O'Donnell in for Pittsburgh, the new quarterback at the 28-yard line as they try to get something going, and Merrill Hodge takes the handoff, picks up 5. He is out of Maryland, is O'Donnell, at 6'3", 221. And the Giants know all about him because his hometown is Madison, New Jersey, which is the site of the Giants training camp.
And I talked to George Young and Tim Rooney, their player personnel director, this past week, and they said they had looked at him and considered him very seriously for the draft, and they like him a lot. He's big and he's strong, and he had a great preseason.
Here's Hodge again on 2nd and 5, and he breaks one for a first down. Wrestled down by Myron Guyton at the 47-yard line. So at least for the moment, O'Donnell has come in and given the fans something to cheer about, even though he hasn't thrown the ball. The 2 handoffs to Hodge resulting in a first down.
I know it's been a tempestuous relationship here in Pittsburgh between Bubby Brister and the fans, and this is not the first time he's been booed. But, you know, keep in mind, this guy tore a ligament in his knee last week, partially practiced all week long, is out here with a heavily bandaged right leg and wearing a major brace on his knee, and gets roundly booed all night. I can sympathize with Brister and how he gets upset with the fans of Pittsburgh sometimes. You know, it's not fair. But then again, nobody ever said it was going to be.
Merrill Hodge just took that one for another first down. Well, you're right, Dan. I mean, he not only tears the ligament, but I said to him last night, I said, did you ever think at any point last week you wouldn't play? He said, nope.
No. I'm sure Bubby Brister right now is saying to himself, well, maybe I'd have been better served if I wouldn't have even tried.
I doubt that, don't you, Dan? I mean,
he'll never do that.
He's got an attitude about this game. He's going to get out there if he has to drag it out there.
Yeah, but nobody likes getting ripped, Frank, when they walk off the field. I'd be mad.
That's Green in motion, and here's Barry Foster on a delay inside the 30, the 20, and out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Perry Williams with the tackle. And the Steelers, who have been dormant on the ground all night, doing it all on the ground on this drive.
I think defensively for the Giants, if you have got the lead that they have, 20-0, you got to think that Chuck Noll is going to put it up in the air. He came out with a new quarterback, kept it on the ground. Little draw play there, goes to Barry Foster, and Barry Foster is really quick. Sprints down the sideline, so the Steelers doing what the Giants did not expect them to do, and that is run the football.
And you're right, Frank. You can see every one of the Giants' defensive linemen blowing upfield after the quarterback.
They thought it was play action.
And Lawrence Taylor as well, who got suckered on the play. 1st and goal at the 9-yard line. Here's Foster again. He takes it to the 7. It'll be 2nd and goal. 4:30 to go. 3rd quarter. The Giants on top, 20-0.
This is not a field goal drive for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know they'd like to score, but this is a touchdown drive. Bubby Brister stands on the sidelines. O'Donnell has yet to throw a ball.
Bubby probably thinking, I could have done that.
Yeah. They've been fine handoffs to this point. The great one. Maybe the best of all time.
I think his first pass is imminent. 2nd and goal at the 7. Green in motion. Nope. Foster. He takes it to the 4-yard line, so they keep it on the ground. It's 3rd down and goal at the 4. Banks makes the stop. Spotted closer to the 3-yard line. Let's take a look at what happened to Lawrence Taylor.
Well, the best thing you can do to Lawrence Taylor is run right at him and negate his mobility or hold him or something like that. But maybe we can get a look at Eric Green. He has been quiet all night. This is where he works well, down near the goal line.
He is split to the right. 3rd and goal, and O'Donnell's first pass is incomplete in the end zone, intended for Green, and Mark Collins is there to bust it up.
Green saying, I was held, complaining that no flags.
Boy, Mark Collins has seldom strapped on a bigger assignment than taking Eric Green on a break-in pattern. Collins grazed across his shoulder pad.
And not a bad pass by O'Donnell.
Yeah, I don't really think the Collins play here is really a factor in Green not catching this. He really jumped at him and kind of clipped him across the back, but didn't seem to interfere with. Well, he does grab his shoulder pad right there.
Crowd is booing because the Steelers send in Anderson to kick a 21-yard field goal. And there's a flag down before
delay of
he
game.
can do it because the clock goes down to zip.
I don't think that's going to hurt Anderson. He's had 55 consecutive field goals from the 35-yard line or in.
Yeah, but I don't know that you make this call here with 3:09 to play in the 3rd quarter, going for 3, down 20-0.
By the offense, still 4th down.
I mean, you need 3 touchdowns to take the lead. You need combinations of many field goals to take the lead.
Field goals, safeties, the whole thing.
Boku field goals.
About 6 or 7.
Yep. In a way, it's the best drive of the night for the Steelers, but it's a Pyrrhic victory of anything to pick up 3. Chip shot by Anderson. 3:06 left in the 3rd. The Giants still leading comfortably by 17.
Pardon me. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Understanding the difference between excellence and next best, because you have learned the value of the difference. Now, Mercedes-Benz has built the car for you. The new S-Class, the car of a lifetime, for the people who created it, for the people who will drive it.
There is Mark Collins sitting on the Giants bench, and boy, he had the toughest of assignments. He's only 5'10", and he was trying to strap on 6 feet 5 inch Eric Green there, number 86, and he took a flyer at him and actually got his right hand up on his shoulder pad. don't know you can much blame Collins with the way he went after it, and you can make a case that maybe it was interference, but he got away with it.
Here's Gary Anderson to kick off. Taken at the 2-yard line. This is Mark Ingram. Spins his way out to the 27, and a flag is down back at the 35-yard line, which would indicate that the Steelers were offside on the kick. And they were.
All right, watch from the left side of your screen. Green will come into the picture. There comes Collins. He really looks like he dives for Green and doesn't get him. I mean,
offside.
The right hand clipped his jersey.
That penalty is declined.
Whether or not that interfered with Green's catching of the ball or not, it's tough to tell.
You see it so well, too, in slow motion, and it happens so quickly when you're right on top of it.
Oh, really? You know, it would have made it 20-7 rather than 20-3. Even more importantly, guys, we talked about it going away to commercial. I don't know how you don't go for the touchdown there.
I agree. 2:56 to go in the third quarter. First down from the 27, and number 27, Mr. Hampton, gets about 4 to the 31, where David Little makes the tackle. Ray Handley, well, answering all the critics. It's very interesting to have watched Handley. I mean, you're in the media glare. It's the first time he's been a head coach since coaching at a remote high school in Nevada in the early 70s. And in New York, you are under intense scrutiny. But his style has been, at least to this point, quite dissimilar from that of his predecessor in his handling of the press.
Well, nobody is more dissimilar than his predecessor also.
Here's Hampton. Just as an example,
was sort of a blue collar, and you could say Ray is kind of high tech.
Well, what Parcells learned through the years, I mean, Bill Parcells was a great master of media manipulation in a way. He knew how to work the media. What Ray has done, what Handley's done, is he's very thoughtful, he is very articulate and extremely smart, and he tries to give you a well-founded answer. But I think he's beginning to learn that his well-founded answers can sometimes wind up in soundbite or ellipse form.
What did he say to us? My biggest critic in New York never asked me a question.
Yeah, but I think it's safe to say that Bill Parcells was not the master of manipulating the media that he is in his 6th game of his rookie year.
Here's Hampton, who is stopped by Hinkle and Everett before he can pick up a first.
And that is a good point. You touched on it too, Al. It's all new to Ray, and overall, I think you'd almost have to give him pretty good grades on any kind of a report card. And he was in a no-win situation, taking over from one of the most popular coaches ever to coach in this game in New York City.
Here's Landeta, and he blasts one. A bomb taken at the 12-yard line. Rod Woodson.
Look out.
A flag is down, and so most of this run back will, in all likelihood, be negated.
We've got a Steeler hurt back at the 18-yard line. One of the guys is down on his back.
That's Larry Griffin, the defensive back. And there is a flag down. Ball goes against the Steelers. 53 seconds left in the third.
What's up? The talking elephants our sales force left with yesterday?
Yeah, there's been a little problem. Do we have any that speak elephant? So who's going to get them to all of our salesmen?
One company offers 1030 delivery to more places than anyone and treats them all with mammoth importance.
Presenting Hugo, the talking elephant.
Federal Express, our most important package, is yours.
They still work on Griffin after that Landeta punt, which was 54 yards, and the penalty before we went to commercial was charged to Chris Callaway, who has now accounted for the hat trick tonight. That's the 3rd penalty on Callaway on a run back.
And if you know anything about this game or ever played a little ball, you saw the doctors testing Larry Griffin's knee, flexing it in and out, and right there testing the amount of motion that is in there and trying to determine whether or not there's any internal damage. And that's about the worst thing a player can have happen to him on the field is when they start moving that knee around.
I think it's the worst thing that is on a player's mind. You can't have it on your mind when you're actually playing, but if you've played this game for any length of time, you have seen so many guys go down around you, and the one thing you fear most of all is what they're looking at right now.
Well, I'll say this. Griffin wasn't hopping around much when they were doing it, and the look on his face, he may have reason, hopefully, to be a little optimistic.
Well, he gets up.
The knee just wasn't made to play football.
No. And when it does happen, it feels like, well, you've had it, Dan, it feels like that bottom part of the leg is going to fall off.
Well, we wish him well.
So Larry Griffin comes off for the Steelers with 53 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Giants on top 20-3. And the Steelers have a 1st and 10 at their own 13-yard line. Joe Walton, the offensive coordinator, former head coach of the Jets, of course.
Well, let's see if the magic continues here for Pittsburgh.
Well, they did it on the ground on their last drive, and this time it's a good play fake, and it's Green making the catch. And Green, the huge tight end, likened to a rhinoceros by Al Groh, the Giants defensive coordinator, takes it to the 25-yard line, his first catch of the night.
Looks like does things nobody can do.
Looked like Carl Banks got up and complained to the official. How can a guy this big be catching the ball downfield? Words escape us when it comes to actually telling you how big Eric Green looks in a football uniform when he trots out on the field for warm-ups.
You're just down watching on the sidelines, as I was earlier in the end zone, and you can hear him pounding the artificial surface.
1st and 10 at the 26. McDonald. And he finds Hodge over the middle. It's a minimal gain up to the 29-yard line. He's tackled by Banks, and that will do it for the third quarter. 15 minutes remaining in the regulation. To the fourth we go. 20-3 Giants. Back we come after this word from our ADC stations.
Thursday.
Don't shoot, I'm a comic!
When a comedian hides from the mob.
What did you do? Hey, the guy's trying to kill me with Perry Como music. You use my deodorant?
O'Hannon loses his apartment. Time to go to bed. And the joke's on Gabe.
What are you doing here?
An all-new Pros and Cons Thursday.
Danger in a coffee pot from a deadly defect the appliance maker knew about. Hundreds of thousands are still out there, maybe in your home. Primetime, Thursday.
What are Metro Atlantans saying tonight about Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill? I'm Don Farmer. Join us after the game on the Channel 2 Action News Night Feed.
Hundreds of felony criminals are being dumped out of Georgia jails.
Bad people.
They're repeat offenders, and experts say they'll strike again.
The bottom line problem, crime does pay in Georgia.
The state's cutting budgets, new prisons can't open, and hundreds of criminals are going back on the streets. What does that mean to you?
Don't miss Bill Night's special assignment, Pardons and Paroles, tomorrow at 6 on Channel 2 Action News. Coverage you can count on.
He's faxing it from Thailand.
The import firm of Franks and Crumpler wasn't done by a decorator.
He's faxing an elephant?
Their office manager is Mr. Crumpler's sister,
You already
Annie.
did.
But with AT&T,
Thailand's on the phone.
they've got the best help around. International 800 service and language line interpreters.
He says he can send you 50.
And that's helping business a lot more than a fancy office.
How about some Thai food tonight? If you're buying.
A world of help from AT&T.
Oprah, are you a fashion do or fashion don't?
College doubleheader Saturday, noon Eastern time. The Vols of Tennessee ranked 8th against Alabama. And then in the second half of the doubleheader, regional action, including Washington against California. Two teams ranked in the top 10. We start the fourth quarter. It is 2nd down and 7. Steelers trail by 17. And Merrill Hodge to the 35. Pepper Johnson makes the stop. Giants, of course, dominating in all categories. And take a look at the time of possession through the first 45 minutes of play.
Well, that's through the 3 quarters, but here in the third quarter, the Steelers were able to move the ball, and They moved it on the ground after Bubby Brister sat down. They brought in Neil O'Donnell. But it has been total dominance thus far.
Steelers have not converted a third down tonight. 3rd and 1. They are 0 for 7 on 3rd down, and they finally convert Merrill Hines to the 39.
Well, you just telling everybody, Al, that they haven't converted a 3rd down is the single biggest factor in the Giants having a 2-to-1 edge in time of possession. I mean, when you don't keep the ball yourself offensively, the other team does. It's that simple. There's Al Groh, the defensive coordinator of the Giants, sending in the signal. LT still at it. Double team there. Jackson, Green. Fights his way off of it. It must be tough to always draw a crowd.
1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. Foster goes in motion. O'Donnell throws, and it's incomplete. It's intended for Foster, the running back.
Talk about O'Donnell in preseason. He was 38 of 61, 430-some yards, 5 touchdowns. He was spectacular in preseason, and he came in the San Diego game, the first game of the season, and he had an 89-yard touchdown bomb to Dwight Stone. They like him here. And a lot of other teams liked him a lot when he came out of the draft 2 years ago, as Al mentioned, from Maryland, after being a runner-up to most of the records set by Boomer Esiason.
Who we'll see next week. How's that for a promo segue? 2nd and 10. Here's Foster. And the Steelers, at least in the last 2 drives, getting something going on the ground. And the Giants were able to shut down their running game totally in the first half. A thing we should point out, too, about the Steeler running game, if you're wondering about Tim Worley and haven't heard much about him, he was going to be a franchise-type player, but he's on injured reserve, and he is very much in Chuck Noll's doghouse. He's available to come off IR, but Noll told us last night there is no indication that he is going to activate Tim Worley anytime soon. There's Pepper Johnson making the stop.
I'm not sure that they're going to activate Tim Worley anytime.
I wouldn't say Tim Worley is in the doghouse, but they're thinking about bringing Rudd Weatherwax in to help work with him.
Well, that's
Rudd Weatherwax?
Yes, he was Lassie's trainer. Al doing the ultimate grope there for that one.
Oh, come on. You're the guy who brought up Rudd before.
I know. I loved it. At the end of every show, they always gave him credit.
All I'm giving you is a chance to correct the mistake you made, or that's all I'm doing for you.
Right.
I'm giving you a softball to hit out of the park.
I made a grievous error earlier, I am told, although I didn't realize it. I actually referred to Toonces the cat as I guess I phrased the question, what's the name of that dog on Saturday Night Live that drives the car? I feel humiliated and belittled.
I give you that softball, and you hit me out of the park. 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line.
Look at this, huh?
Oh, I'll tell you we got to go back and look at Lawrence Taylor on that. He did a 360, almost knocked the ball out of O'Donnell's hand, wheeled all the way around the line of scrimmage. Yeah, let's follow him on this trip. He's like Magellan on this one. Misses the ball there. All the way around, comes out on the other side. There he is again.
He missed him again.
Yeah, but O'Donnell knew he was coming, too. Quarterbacks
pretty doggone good.
Keep track of him.
Pretty good.
Doggone?
What, cat gone?
2nd and 8 from the 49. Foster again. And Foster is able to break a tackle and comes close to picking up the first down. He bounced off Lorenzo Freeman and has the first.
Good running. Foster 5'10", 218 pounds. He can really accelerate too. Steelers leading rusher into tonight. We'll look at him again. He breaks inside Banks, bounces off a tackle.
Good running.
And Walls, fortunately, was being blocked to the outside by Merrill Hott. That could have been for buku yardage.
First down at the 40-yard line. O'Donnell throws. Catch is made by Lips. He spins his way to a first down. Inside the 20 to the 16 to a chorus of Louie.
He said earlier he has not been much of a factor in the Steelers' offense for the past few weeks with that pulled muscle. Didn't play at all last week, but you try to cover him man on man, you can get in deep trouble, as the Giants do with Perry Williams, who was way off of blitz. He's not a big speedster, but he has the moves of a running back once he catches the ball.
Yeah, once he catches it, he reminds me of that great receiver for the Jets, Al Toons.
Oh, stop being catty, would you? First down at the 17-yard line. Warren Williams is in the game. O'Donnell throws and off the hands of Dwight Stone. Well, Stone has tremendous speed. The rap on him through the years, and not that that particular pass was his fault, but the rap has been that his hands resemble his name, and I'm not talking about Dwight.
Well,
that
had
was
to
a
be
little
about
bit out of his reach.
One of the other raps is he's not 6'6" on this one, because O'Donnell, who really smoked one earlier on a pass that was dropped by Eric Green, fires this one over the outstretched fingers, and that would have been a miracle catch had he come down with it.
He needed to be Dwight Stones to catch that pass.
Yes. That's right.
That was okay. All right. So I stole it from Kenny Wolf, our producer. You know what?
Credit where due. 2nd and 10. O'Donnell throws, and this time it's low and incomplete, intended for Lips. 3rd and 10 with 10:30 to go in regulation. Giants on top by 17.
3rd down.
O'Donnell getting the formation from Joe Walton. They'll send in the play, but this is double coverage. Collins to the outside, Walls to the inside, and ball thrown low. Had it been thrown up, it would have been deflected by Everson Walls. He's having a great year. He got his 52nd interception last week. His career interception. But they can use him anywhere, and they've had to this year, either at the corner or at the strong safety when Greg Jackson has been out of the lineup.
3rd down, and O'Donnell's going to call timeout after Lips starts in motion. 3rd and 10 upcoming at the 17. Timeout. 10:30 remaining. 4th quarter. Giants 20. Steelers 3.
Ford trucks, the best ever made.
Sales reports are in, and guess what? Ford is the leader in total truck sales for the 6th straight year. And Ford full-size pickups are #1 14 years in a row. We also make the best-built American trucks. You understand that? You understand why we stay #1.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
As we approach the 1992 Olympic Games, many are striving to be their best. They call him Iron Legs. But Richard Lowe isn't an athlete. He's a letter carrier on some of the cruelest hills in San Francisco. The 750,000 workers of the Postal Service are proud to sponsor the 1992 Olympic Games and share with you the quest to be the best.
We deliver for you.
Your competitor is after the same job you are. Their proposal is similar to yours, but they own a Canon color laser copier, and you don't. Who would you give the job to? Canon color laser copiers. You can't afford to be without one.
Had this doozy of a sore throat. Know what my doc suggested? Psst, psst. Chloroseptic. I actually felt the pain go away in seconds.
Because Chloroseptic penetrates on contact for fastest relief. More doctors say Chloroseptic spray.
Last year, they won their conference crown. This year, that's not enough. The Buffalo Bills battle Boomer Esiason and the Bengals. Next week on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron providing the aerial views. It's 3rd down and 10 for the Steelers at the 17. Giants on top 20-3. 10:30 to go in the 4th. And O'Donnell, there's no play here. There was a whistle before the snap.
Flags on the play.
Red Cashin tells us.
Before the snap, false start, number 71 on the offense. Still 3rd down.
Very unhappy Chuck Noll.
Second penalty against Ricketts tonight.
You saw him come up early. Ricketts playing in place of Terry Long, who's normally in there at the left guard spot.
Interesting stat. The Steelers into tonight 0 for 17 on third down and more than 7 yards, and his third and much more than that now.
And they're 1 for 8 tonight, and they came in last in the league. O'Donnell throws too high, and it's going to be 4th and 15. Lewis Lips was the intended receiver.
Pass intended for Lips, incomplete.
But even if that pass would have been caught by Lips, it only would have been good for maybe 5 yards.
They're going to go for a field goal. Well, the deal is this: at this point, you're still going to need 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So they figure they might as well get to 3 here on 4th and 15.
Well, we said they only needed 7. Now they make this. They'll only need 5.
Gary Anderson. And he has now made 50 consecutive field goals from 39 yards or less. And that makes it 20-6 Giants.
Hi. Come closer. No, come on. Look what I've got. It's a Hitachi camcorder with digital zoom. It allows you to get great close-ups from far away. You know, most camcorders can get you about here, but Hitachi keeps zooming and zooming and zooming. So, if you want to get from here to here, Hitachi digital zoom can do it. No, that's too close. Better.
Get up to 100 times closer with a Hitachi digital zoom camcorder.
Again! Why have the great outdoors become an indoor sport? Try Bud Dry. It's dry brewed, not watered down, to drink light yet satisfy completely. So while we may have some things inside out, refreshment isn't one of them.
Automotive Industries calls Ford Crown Victoria's modular V8 a work of art. Automobile Magazine says the interior is what you'd expect from a car built with luxury in mind. Motor Trend says Crown Victoria redefines what a full-size American sedan should be. The new Ford Crown Victoria. Discover it for yourself. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Thursday.
That's too good.
American Detective goes undercover. And they're not playing games.
You ever play tag when you were a kid? Well, you're it.
American Detective, Thursday.
Please put your hands up. In Pittsburgh, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf, 20-6. The Giants are on top with 10:19 remaining in the 4th quarter. And Gary Anderson to kick off. Mark Ingram from the 11-yard line runs into some of his own people and Steelers as well at the 23. Well, we talked about Chuck Noll. Started here in 1969, and this man now in his 23rd year. But what about the rest of the city? The Pirates, and they've had great success during that period. Pittsburgh has had 7 managers. Jim Leland now managing the team. And the Hockey Penguins, who last year won the Stanley Cup, while Noll has been here, 14 different men have coached the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Chuck went 1-13 that first year.
From the 23. By the way, speaking of the Penguins, we'd like to mention the 14th coach is right now Scotty Bowman, who's the interim coach. And we want to send our very best to Bob Johnson, who coached the Penguins to the Stanley Cup championship last year. A wonderful man, recovering from cancer surgery, and we send him our very, very best.
Absolutely. Of course, Chuck Noll did something a long time ago that paid off pretty well for him. He drafted some defensive tackle by the name of Joe Green with his first #1 draft choice.
And then he drafted somebody named Terry, somebody like Bradshaw.
Another guy named Franco. Another guy named Jack Hand.
2nd and 6 as Maurice Carthen comes down with it. Or does he? Was he inbounds?
He'll probably take a look-see, but if he is inbounds, he'll have the first down. Good move by Hostetler. He knows it's a little dangerous because he was flirting with Lyman being downfield. He had pulled it down and picked off Carthen. Had a right and a left.
That's a great pass.
And a good look at from our end zone.
Sure was. I mean, that's a great pass. All the way across his body, across the field.
Play is ruled as a catch and then out of bounds. It's first down.
And that's what it was. A good look and a good call.
These Giants are off next week. They have the NFC East bye, and a lot of these Giant players are taking their day off next Sunday, and they're going to gather at Giant Stadium for a whole bunch of them are coming out for the American Lung Association in New Jersey. They're billing it as the biggest tailgate part in the world. Lots of prizes and all that sort of stuff. And lots of things for the fans next Sunday.
Giants have a first down at their own 34. 9:01 left in the fourth. Hampton to the 45-yard line, and that is enough for a first down. Greg Lloyd makes the stop. Well, as far as Knoll is concerned, longest consecutive tenures for the major sports, guys heading them, managers or coaches. Connie Mack, well, he was 50 years with the A's because he owned them. John McGraw of the baseball giants, and then Landry and Lambeau in football. Walter Alston managed the Dodgers 23 straight years. So you put Knoll right up there with Steve Owen and Walter Alston, 23 years at the top.
And just don't forget 4 Super Bowl championships also. They didn't get the one for the thumb, though.
Well, he's not finished. He's not finished yet. First and 10 at the 45. Hampton. And Knoll, like Don Shula, gives no indication of retiring. I guess, you know, some coaches, I guess you come out the other side. You go 10 or 12 years and you begin to talk about getting out or going to the booth or whatever. And then maybe once you come out the other end of that, then maybe you want to go forever.
Memory begins to go a little bit, and you forget how tough it really is from week to week.
Meanwhile, Knoll has been here how long? Well, Namath led the Jets to Super Bowl III. Armstrong and Aldrin were named to the crew. They hadn't taken off yet, becoming the first men to land on the moon. And Knoll named the coach of the Steelers in January of '69.
And Monday Night Football wasn't even on the air yet.
You know, it actually began right here, though. The first preseason game of Monday Night Football. I remember getting a call from Don Meredith right after that game saying, I can't live with this. And he was right.
He was very prescient.
But I can't live without it either.
Well, I'm living awfully good with it.
7:07 and counting down. Giants 3rd and 4 the Steeler 49. Giants on top 20-6. Hostetler nearly has it picked off. Intended for Ingram. Thomas Everett couldn't corral it at his shoe tops.
One of the rare blitzes we've seen on the part of the Steelers tonight. Bringing both outside men. Hostetler had a good opportunity to hit big, but it was good coverage downfield.
There's Dave Brazil, their defensive coordinator. A good look at the pressure in the pocket. That's Hostetler just trying to find somebody, and another good look there of the new in the grass rule. He must be threatened by a second person. If he's not, he's still allowed to get rid of the football.
Sean Landetta into the arms of Woodson at the 13. And Rod is out of bounds at the 33.
Oh, and he took a shot in the back, Rod Woodson.
Pittsburgh takes over at the 33 with 6.5 remaining.
How do you improve a design like Ford Taurus? With no negatives, you simply accentuate the positives. Aerodynamic design becomes slipperier. Instrumentation and controls become handier. An inviting interior becomes friendlier. And in the end, the most award-winning car in its class becomes even classier. The new Ford Taurus. Have you ever wished the good things in life could get even better? Have you driven a Ford lately?
All right, Angela, Stretch up, arch your back.
I remember the very first time I fell. I didn't want to ride again. But after Grandpa picked me up and put me back on, I knew I had to try.
At AT&T, we know every great athlete has been inspired by someone. As a proud sponsor of the U.S. Olympic team, we salute them all.
After all these years, Grandpa's still there to pick me up.
There's something new, you're gonna love it. From KFC, it's called the Go Bucket. Pick any kind, just $5.99. At KFC, it's Go Bucket time.
KFC introduces $5.99 Go Buckets. Enjoy original recipe, hot wings, or extra tasty crispy chicken. Choose any one for just $5.99.
Nobody's cooking like today's KFC. Nobody's cooking like today's KFC.
Giant defense has not allowed a touchdown tonight. Steelers scoring limited to 2 field goals. 20-6 is the count. Pittsburgh has it 1st and 10 at its own 33-yard line. 6:37 remaining.
Standing along that line of scrimmage, seeing a lot of action tonight is 77, Eric Dorsey. They brought him back from arthroscopic surgery last week. Had it right before the start of the season. He played better than they thought, and he's seeing a lot of action tonight.
From the 33-yard line, Neil O'Donnell in relief of Bubby Brisker throws. It's caught by Dwight Stone. First down up at the 46-yard line.
I think the Steelers and Joe Walton's probably where they can complete a lot of those if they want to. The Giants are going to be very cautious about giving up anything big. They have into a zone defense, Stone in the seam, but he is not going to get deep on them. As the seconds tick off that clock.
6 minutes to go. 1st and 10. O'Donnell throws. The catch is made by Green. The massive tight end is banged out of bounds at the 30-yard line by Gary Reason.
Now Walls went for the interception, mistimed it. Green, good concentration, looked it into the hands and gets the big gain.
I'd say Al Moore along the lines if he was nudged out of bounds by Gary Reasons.
Watch Walls come hurtling through, looking for the INT. Not even close.
Well, when you got a detour that far to go around him, but Reasons didn't appear to stun Green with that hit, knocking him out of bounds. Overall, though, he's been relatively quiet tonight. You know, Gary Reasons had one of the big plays in this ballgame. You know, you think back there in the first quarter when Pittsburgh was driving, it was a 7-0 ball game after the long pass to Stone, and Gary Reasons drops Merrill Hodge, and it ends up being an interception by Collins.
Steelers have to take a timeout, and that's due to O'Donnell's inexperience.
In financial matters, as in life, everybody's different. Different needs, different goals. The Principal Financial Group understands. Our financial services are as unique and individual as you are. Personalized solutions that offer each customer an advantage. That's the Principal Edge. It's made us one of America's largest. So for diversified products that fit your financial needs to the letter, look for the Principal Edge.
Goodyear blimp hovering above downtown, the Golden Triangle, and across the river sits Three Rivers Stadium. Joe Walton's offense guided now by Neil O'Donnell. 1st and 10 after that timeout. Pittsburgh at the 29-yard line. LT puts the heat on. O'Donnell throws off balance, and then it's dropped by Barry Foster.
Oh, come on. You hear more and more people say, well, he's slowing up. Well, I'm tired of hearing that about him. He took a big offensive tackle, about 285 pounds, Dan, and just pushed him right back into the quarterback.
Well, he hurt Jackson. Jackson got up limping. Watch him just collapse Jackson. O'Donnell has to back up and get out of the way, and Jackson twisted his ankle or something. Lawrence Taylor, and believe me, I've had to block the guy a couple times, is almost unnaturally strong. When he pushes against you, you don't seem to actually be able to comprehend the amount of pressure that's being exerted against you. It's really unnatural is the word that comes to mind.
2nd and 10. This time he overruns the play, and it's Hodge swinging to the outside and taking it to the 18-yard line, and that's enough for a first down.
It's what we talked about a little earlier. The best place to go with a Lawrence Taylor on the field is right at him, because he is going to go around the blocks. He's so quick, and he will move to the inside, move to the outside. If you set him up right, he'll take himself out of the play as he does here.
Well,
he's thinking pass. He takes himself out of it.
In his defense, he's playing like it's 20-6.
Absolutely. And that's what's going on out there. They're not going to beat him this way, and he knows it.
Meanwhile, out of nowhere, the Pittsburgh Steelers wind up scoring here.
Yes,
this
they're
has
within
become
a touchdown.
A very interesting game. Under 5 to play, 1st and 10. Pittsburgh at the 16. Giants on top, 20-6. Lips in motion. 3 receivers all going to the pattern from the right side, and it's caught by Lips for a touchdown, and we have a game.
Beautifully delivered ball by O'Donnell. And what a difference a healthy Lewis Lips means to this offense. The only experienced veteran wide receiver they have. He's not been available for the past couple of weeks. And well thrown football by O'Donnell. Perfect.
Well, Gary Reasons is floating behind Lewis Lips, and after the play, he was visibly upset, expecting some help from the secondary in his zone.
Reasons is in there against the run. Ordinarily, he's not in there against the pass. Giants thinking the Steelers are going to keep it on the ground. But again, a well-run pattern, a well-delivered ball by Neil O'Donnell.
And a great matchup for Pittsburgh, getting Gary Reasons, a linebacker, a run-oriented linebacker, matched up on a wide receiver. But after this play, Reasons immediately spins in the direction of Everson Walls and wants to know, where was my help? I'm not sure Walls was the guy, but he was the guy closest to Reasons, and so he got the question posed to him. If you're LT, more than one guy is going to block you. There's Eric Green. There's Merrill Hodge. It's the price of stardom.
After Anderson's extra point, it's 20-13. There's a ton of time left at 4:37. The only thing on the downside for Pittsburgh is they've been forced to use 2 timeouts. So they have 1 left and 1 at the 2-minute warning. But it's going to be almost essential for the Steelers defense to create a 3-and-out for the Giants.
And they have been playing with spirit and enthusiasm all night. I mean, they're more than capable of creating a big play.
Gary Anderson sends it to Dave Meggett at the 7-yard line. And Meggett tackled at the 19-yard line. Gerald Williams makes the stop.
Big play by Williams, because that was going to be a lot of yardage on that return. He made a tackle on Meggett. When Meggett, had he turned that corner, would have been long gone.
This stadium is half empty, but it's noisy. I mean, half this crowd has gone home.
Shades of Chicago. They'll be coming back because they're probably in the parking lot.
Hope they got their hands stuck. 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. Hampton knocked down by Aaron Jones. I don't think I've called his name all night, but what a time to make a big play.
Well, and he just takes a big slicing move to the inside and well into the Giants' backfield. You know that the defense is going to gamble. They're not going to just sit stationary. They're going to slant one way or another. Watch the right side of your screen. He goes inside Riesenberg, 72. You're not expecting a straight-up defense in this situation. They're going to angle. They're going to stunt. They're going to gamble.
They're looking for the big play.
2nd and 13. Ingram in motion. Keep it on the ground. Hampton. He takes it up to the 21. He's stopped by Carnell Lake, and a critical 3rd and 8 comes up for the Giants.
3rd and 8, and the Giants will bring in Meggett. It works well out of the backfield, and you know they're coming in with some kind of a high percentage call. McCaffrey also comes on because the one thing you don't want to do down here is turn it over, and Hostetler is not one that throws interceptions. They talk so much about the contrast between he and Phil Simms, but Hostetler does not throw interceptions either.
I'd make sure that I put a couple guys on the side of Greg Lloyd. I try to keep him away from my quarterback.
Game clock under 3. Play clock is at 4, 3, 2, and they get the play off on 3rd and 8. Megan is stopped at the 24-yard line, and the Giants will be forced to kick.
And they bring out Sean Landetta, who is about as good as you could want to have in a situation like this.
And they have to punt, too, don't they, Al?
They have to punt.
By about 2 seconds.
Yes, they can't. They cannot take it to the 2-minute warning. Because for the moment, the clock is stopped by whom here? Tell me, Red Cashin.
Yeah, the play clock.
Number 3 for Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh takes the timeout, but they cost themselves about 20 seconds.
They sure did.
They should have taken it. If they were going to take it then, the call was to take it at 2:47 to go, not 2:27. Yep, they cost themselves 20 seconds.
At that point in time, they'd have been better served to let it go on down. And once they burned that much time, they should have go ahead and let it go.
They are out of timeouts. It was an interesting thing. They were so excited in the emotion of stopping the Giants that nobody quite had the wherewithal to say, what do we want to do here? Had they done it at that point, they would have saved themselves 20 seconds.
Is this crowd here doing that Florida State, Atlanta
a lot of Tommy Hawk going on here, too.
I mean, do I hear it?
I'm hearing it in my sleep these days.
Well, I'm wondering if I am, too. Maybe I'm just...
Here's Landetta to kick. Woodson to receive the kick. The Steelers are out of timeouts, but they will get a clock stoppage at the 2-minute warning.
Not one of Sean's best.
Oh, and Woodson took a gamble there because the coverage was terrific by Renee Thompson.
Yeah. Boy, what a critical play when your teammates need it by Renee Thompson.
Particularly against a guy who's averaging about 17 yards a return coming into tonight.
Woodson saying to himself, why can't you just get this one guy? I mean, if they block Thompson, he's got a chance to make something happen. As it is, Renee Thompson turns in a Pro Bowl play.
So the Steelers with no timeouts, 1st and 10 at the 32, 2:19 to play.
You got to watch Lips and you have to watch Green.
O'Donnell throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Merrill Hodge. 2:14 to go. Second and 10.
What a spot for this youngster to be in. Came into this game when basically Chuck Noll had decided it was out of reach and he was going to give his injured quarterback Bubby Brister a break. He's got a shot to pull it out.
To the left and Stone to the right.
They're all 4-down possessions now. You go for it on 4th if you don't get it.
O'Donnell fires over the middle to the tight end. Green, first down at the 45-yard line. And that should take us to the 2-minute warning. And so for the last time, the Steelers will get the clock stopped. With 55 yards to go. 2-minute warning. And all of a sudden, folks, it became a game. 20-13.
So, Jimmy, my man, you ever miss being a civilian?
You mean banging my head against the wall to get ahead? Going in hock up to my eyeballs for the right house or the right car? No, I don't miss it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Well, maybe I miss the cars a little.
Relax. You're among friends. Levi's 100% cotton Dockers.
The reinvention of the Ford Escort added a new level of design and performance to small cars. And
Now, we've added a new, more sophisticated Ford Escort. Introducing the new four-door Ford Escort LX sedan, a car designed to offer exceptional value and quality, and even the power of the GT, but with a style all its own. Have you wanted a style all your own? Have you driven a Ford lately?
From the Far East to Europe. Across the Caribbean and throughout North America, only one airline covers so much of the world with so much warmth.
Three River Stadium, where the crowd at one point tonight was in excess of 57,000. I would guess about 30 and change in the park right now.
2 down linemen for the Giants. They have 2 linebackers, Banks and Taylor, and 7 defensive backs.
1st and 10 at the 45. Steelers down by 7. No timeouts left. It's Lewis Lips to the 40-yard line. 1st down, Pittsburgh, stopped by Banks. Lips took a shot. And he hobbles back to the bottom of the screen. O'Donnell looking that way, but looking underneath for Leroy Thompson. It's incomplete. 2nd down and 10. 1:35 left. And Taylor put the pressure on that time.
Taylor with the hurry. O'Donnell couldn't wait, or he would have been buried. Taylor with the spin at the line of scrimmage. Watch him, 56 right in the middle. Little 360 there. Getting away from Hasselrig.
He's finished. That guy's got no football left. Get him off the field. He's a liability. I mean, he's something special. At this stage, at his age, marvelous.
2nd and 10. O'Donnell throws, has a man open at the 25-yard line. That is Jeff Graham, the rookie from Ohio State. Renee Thompson is hurt.
Oh, and look at him get up. He doesn't want to stop the clock.
And he doesn't, and if the Steelers see that, they'll go right to work there, but they can't take advantage of it because O'Donnell wants to stop the clock, and so he grounds it to stop it with 1:15.
I mean, that is a heroic play by Renee Thompson to get up off the ground and get back into his position so his being hurt doesn't stop the clock. Now get off the field if you're hurt now, Renee.
Yep.
But I mean, what a gutsy play.
Got himself a stinger after that contact, but again, just the presence of knowing that he had to get up instead of stop the clock. It took a few more seconds off the clock. You see, hit with his helmet, and Payne went down the arm, and now he comes out.
Meanwhile, that catch by Graham, a big one, the first of his career. And it's caught by the 3rd down back, Leroy Thompson, another rookie from Penn State, stopped by Collins.
More importantly, he gets it out of bounds, stops that clock.
But he is short of the 1st down by a yard, so it's 3rd and 1.5. But in effect, they've got 2 plays to get the 1.5.
And with 1 minute and 10 seconds left, you can't be afraid to run the football.
No, you go with the draw play. Giants will be thinking pass all the way. You've got to get a 1st down, because you can run a lot of plays in 1 minute 10.
I know one thing. I'll bet you right now that Pittsburgh wishes they had those 20 seconds back that they wasted by delaying and using their last timeout.
3rd and a long yard.
Oh, does he have room to run if he wants to go?
And he does, and O'Donnell is out of bounds at the 6-yard line with 1 minute to play.
And a 1st down.
Well, I don't know how many of you out there are left to see this, but there are going to be some unhappy people in the morning.
O'Donnell still looking for the 6 when he sees he can't get it. Pulls it down. Gets as much as he can. Out of bounds, stops the clock with the 1st down. He has been very impressive here in the 2nd half.
How do you figure this game? If one of you figures this out, let me know, will you?
An extremely improbable comeback. It's lofted into the end zone and broken up by Collins. Intended for Chris Callaway. Meanwhile, there's a sidebar to this game, because you know what the story is in Pittsburgh next week? Quarterback controversy.
You're right. You're right. I mean, Brister played hurt.
Great positioning here by Collins. Had it all the way, and a good effort by Callaway. Battling for the ball, and Collins couldn't hang on to it.
There's Brister, who played hurt in the first half and was ineffective, but you cannot in any shape, manner, or form negate what O'Donnell has done since he's been in there.
Second and goal, and he throws for the touchdown to Eric Green.
Look at O'Donnell.
And there are a whole lot of people in white shirts standing around with their hands on their hips. Oh, there's a flag on the field. I wonder if we got a celebration. We may have had a little exuberance by Eric Green. Here's Red Casson.
We have a touchdown. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 86 will be 5 yards on the kickoff.
All right. Not on the kickoff, not on the extra point. Important one here. Important point.
And I'll tell you, the Giants have 50 seconds remaining on that clock.
Gary Anderson in 10 years has missed only 2 extra points. He tries to tie it. And does.
You know, I don't. On Monday night, anything is possible.
Well,
I've become a believer.
Giants have their timeouts remaining, and they have 50 seconds. But Eric Green, who works on the outside like a wide receiver, he's so nifty with all of that size, worked himself open. And O'Donnell, who has been so impressive dealing with the pressure, finds the big man back of the end zone.
O'Donnell took over at 7:13 of the third quarter. He's led 4 drives. Field goal, touchdown, touchdown, and the mini celebration will cost them 5 right there.
Eric Green and a few of his teammates, Dwight Stone, becomes involved. Multiple celebrations are not tolerated.
If you just joined us, at one point the score of this game was Giants 20, Steelers nothing.
Or just woke up.
Yep. It is 2020. That would be a segue to another promo, wouldn't it?
If this is 2020, can I be Hugh Downs?
Looking at the big tackle, John Jackson, on the sidelines, who was shaken up, you saw earlier, in a confrontation with Lawrence Taylor.
Well, the Giants will try to get into field goal range. They have all of their timeouts and 50 ticks on the clock, and the clock starts when the Giants touch the football, which they will not hear because it goes out of bounds before it reaches the end zone.
Yeah,
and so the option is, do the Giants want the ball at the 35?
Heck yeah, they do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Oh, that's a nice break for the Giants. Absolutely no time off the clock, and they're already up at the 35-yard line.
I'm just pointing out that they have the option. If they obviously they're going to accept it.
That is Ray Hanley tell you, with Matt Barr, he feels he likes to get to the 28-yard line before he's confident that Matt Barr is going to put it through the uprights for him.
You know, they're going to spot the ball at the 40 because of the 5-yard penalty.
It comes after.
Well, why?
Yeah, I've never seen this come into play.
I haven't either.
This is the penalty should be assessed on the kick.
Where he kicked it from.
But he kicked off from the 30.
They're going to tack it on to the end of it here,
too. And they tacked it on at the end of the play.
Well, now it becomes a penalty with meaning.
And it didn't cost them a second on the clock. Still 50 ticks. 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line.
Giants need to get about 32 yards before they could bring a bar out.
Here's Hampton.
Oh, he's inbound.
At the 39-yard line.
Take a timeout, Jeff.
He did.
Okay.
Lake and Jones make the hit. Timeout. That's the first timeout taken by New York.
A superb defensive play by Pittsburgh, keeping Hampton in bounds.
Dave Brazil going over defensive strategy with Brian Hinkle.
And his counterpart, Ray Hanley, going over the offensive strategy with Jeff Hostetler and the man on the spot, Matt Barr.
We'll get a look here at the last play. Here's Hampton trying to get to the sideline. Right there is the play. That's Delton Hall, number 35. Good low tackle and put Hampton on the ground before he got out of bounds.
2nd and 10. Giants at their own 40-yard line.
What the Steelers will give the Giants will be in the middle of the field. They'll try not to give them the corner so that they can get out of bounds with it.
Game tied 20-20, 2nd and 10. Haas, a little floater and a catch made by Meggett, and he has it at the 44 with a half minute to go, and the Giants spend a timeout, and Meggett is shaken up.
I'll tell you, that's a good touch to get the ball to Meggett, but it's a good way to get your little man killed.
And Delton Hall is also hurt for the Steelers. Hall is down at the 45-yard line.
Hall plays that cornerback we said earlier like a linebacker, and he got Meggett with his helmet right on the thigh pad, and Meggett is in extreme pain also. But Hostetler hangs it up. Hall has got about a 10-yard run before the collision with Meggett.
That was a beautiful look there. Didn't it look like Hostetler wasn't even looking in the direction that he threw the ball? I mean, it almost looked like he was looking off to his right. There's the collision.
Wow.
Right on the thigh.
Hall goes about 2.5. That's big for cornerbacks nowadays, and he plays that cornerback again, as we referred to, like a linebacker.
Well, here's the deal. The Giants still have one timeout, and they need to go about 15 yards. They need to go about 15 yards. If you get to the 30, you're looking at a 47-yard field goal.
The concern is with Meggett. That's Dr. Russell Warren, the orthopedic man there on the left. Ronnie Barnes, their trainer. And again, Hostetler with no pressure whatsoever, and has to throw over one Steeler, and he hangs it up and hangs up Meggett and calls the timeout quickly. But the man who could do so much damage to the Steelers is being helped off the field, and that's Dave Meggett.
Delton Hall, meanwhile, is still down right at the 45-yard line.
He caught that thigh pad right in the helmet, and he could be wondering if he even played this game tonight.
And at a time when you need all of the defensive backs you can find, they're already minus Griffin. He's gone for the night. Ball is hurt here. There is Barr. Well, he's done it so often in recent times. He did it in San Francisco to win the NFC Championship. He did it on our opening Monday night game this season to beat the 49ers again. And a man who started his career with the Steelers and spent 2 seasons here will
his best
to knock him off tonight, perhaps.
His best thus far this season, and Hall is up on his feet, appears to be all right. But Barr's best this season has been 49 yards. He's missed twice in attempts from 50 plus.
Did you see the chin guard on Matt Barr? I need somebody to explain to me how does a kicker wear out his chin guard?
He likes to be involved in the action. 1st and 10 at the 44. Haas stepping up. A lot of room. Slides to a halt at the 25. So they are in field goal range right now. They do not want to spend the timeout. They'd rather throw it into the ground here to stop the clock with 12 seconds. Or, well, yeah, it's I'm not sure what they were doing right there.
Well, they were trying to get that stop before 9 seconds, and they're not going to hesitate. They're going to bring out Mr. Reliable.
And they couldn't. They were thinking about trying to get another play in, but they just couldn't. They had the timeout at their disposal.
If they could have stopped it at 12 or 13 seconds, I think they would have run another play and then stopped it. But 9 seconds is too risky. Not enough time to run a play. You might get caught. You might get burned without getting the field goal off.
All right, Hostetler will put it down at the 34. It's a 44-yard kick. DeOssie snaps. And Barr does it again. Well, we began the show by talking about the Giants and all of the close games they're involved in. And last year, they were edging opponents. And this year they've been getting edged by opponents. And now they're on the other side of the edge again. 23-20 with 4 seconds to play.
And take nothing away from a great effort on the part of the Steelers, in particular their young quarterback. And Al, you touched on it. Neil O'Donnell is going to set a lot of things in motion here in Pittsburgh. He was superbly calm and cool under the pressure, delivered when he had to. And speaking of calm and cool, what do you say about Matt Barr? I mean, under any kind of circumstances, he never changes for you.
Maybe it wasn't good by much, was it? But it is 3 points. You know, the last drive here, as we look there at Jeff Hostetler on the right side standing there, every time he left the pocket tonight, he hurt the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, his mobility, not only in buying extra time to throw a pass, but his running skills when he makes a decision to go downfield. I mean, it's just excellent. He hurt Pittsburgh every time he ran with the ball tonight. None more so than the last time he ran with the ball.
And he came into tonight, as we said, 42 of 52, and he didn't hurt himself throwing the ball tonight either.
And yet there are some people who keep contending that there's a developing quarterback controversy in New York. What?
No,
what are you talking about? 34-yard line. And this is going to do it unless there's a penalty, and we've got a little cow play. Woodson loses the ball. It's out of bounds, and that's it. So a valiant and a gallant comeback by the Steelers. They come up on the short end, but the crowd still salutes them as they leave the field, as the Giants, after seeing a 20-point lead evaporate, win by 3.
And if you follow the Steelers or live in Pittsburgh, tune in this week for the Bubby Brister, Neil O'Donnell show. Who starts next week?
I think I know the answer.
Well, why don't you call Chuck Noll and tell him?
No, you call him.
I'm sure he'd be.
You call him.
I'm sure he'd be glad to be enlightened by you, Al.
All right. 23-20 is the final score. The Giants win it. That's the story from Pittsburgh. Talk to you from Buffalo next week. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, Dan Dierdorf. So long from Three Rivers Stadium.
Saturday, an ABC college football doubleheader begins as 8th-ranked Tennessee heads into Alabama. Then regional action follows when number 3 Washington tackles 7th-ranked Cal. Illinois battles Iowa. Colorado meets Oklahoma, or Texas A&M takes on Baylor. Now, except on the West Coast, stay tuned for your late local news and ABC News Nightline over most of these ABC stations. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By AT&T, the right choice. By Levi's Doctors, relax, you're among friends. And by Kentucky Fried Chicken, nobody's cooking like today's KFC. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.